In Cubelic in the morning, we are live at SEC Media Days, day 4. It has been a grind. It has been a week. Greg Sankey going to join the show this morning at 8:20 Eastern. Also, Eli Drinkwitz at 10:15 this morning. Mike Elko at 10:40 this morning. So 2 more SEC coaches set to join the show today. Excited to talk with them about what their football team's going to look like. 2 teams that I find very intriguing. But Alabama Day was yesterday, and they made the rounds, made a little bit of noise. I think there were a couple of takeaways that you feel good about, that you feel like you learned a few things. Anything that you felt like you learned was different, that you liked, you loved, maybe you didn't like, G-Mac, from what you heard out of anybody from the Crimson Tide yesterday?
You know, I didn't get a chance to hear much from the players. I know some folks got a chance to visit with them. I did not have that luxury. I got to talk with Kalen, obviously, early, and got to talk to him briefly off camera. But that was for about 2 seconds. I don't feel like I got any time with them. Did you get to visit with any of the players from your time to kind of bounce around yesterday?
I didn't talk to any of them.
Yeah.
I mean, none. I mean, it was just, we obviously got to sit down with Kalen on the show yesterday. And then when they did the radio rounds, I wasn't here. And then I guess when they did TV, I wasn't down there either. So just kind of missed a lot of those guys. But did hear some of the things that were said. Obviously, there feels like I kind of liked when I just did Sports Center a moment ago, Randy Scott was asking me, what's success for the Crimson Tide? What's failure? And I loved his answer on last year. And he was asked at the podium just about, was last year a failure because they didn't make the college football playoff? And he said no. And I know most fans don't want to hear that. And most fans are probably not going to be okay with that. But like I know, Greg, you can learn so many things about your team, so many things about yourself, how you coach, your schedule, your practice regimen, and you can apply that to the next season. So I love the fact that Kalen DeBoer is not going to come out and just say, hey, because I remembered a couple of years ago, you and I sat about 4 tables down from where we are right now. And Bryce Young sat down with us, and he said last season was a failure. And they won an SEC championship. And I remember immediately hearing that thinking, man, don't do that to yourself. Like, you guys did so many good things. You did so many good things. But that pressure was there. And so I think that there is a little bit of understanding from him that I know everybody wants to be there. I know that's the ultimate goal. We want to be there. We're going to do what we can to get there. But there are a lot of other takeaways that can be had even if you don't go win a national championship.
I think so, and I think Kalen kind of addressed it head on yesterday in his time at the podium. Basically, making the playoffs is success. Like, it should be. Like, give yourself a chance to play for a national championship. Now with the world changing, like, if you make the playoffs, that should be viewed as a very successful season. And I still don't feel like last season was a complete failure, even though some might think it was. I mean, I think in a transition year to beat Georgia and beat LSU on the road is a pretty dang good season, especially knowing your quarterback was inadequate at times. Like, I don't feel like it was terrible. I just feel like there were things about last year where there just was some challenges from an emotional standpoint, leadership standpoint. The team played emotionally, and Kalen, I think, now has guys that are kind of all in the same direction. So I agree with you. Like, I remember that vividly. It was in Atlanta, was it not, when Bryce said that?
It was 4 tables down from where we are right now, in this exact spot. And I just remember thinking to myself, man, I respect it. I know what you're doing, and I understand it, but it's also like, man, don't do that to yourself. Like, that's just the amount of pressure that puts on you for the following season. And I thought it subtracted from what he actually did the year before, which was a hell of a season and a team that had some flaws but still went out and won an SEC championship. So –
but they played for a title. Like, they played for a national championship. That's a pretty good year. Had the lead in the fourth quarter of a national championship game.
And so here's how I answered the question today from Randy Scott, which was, what is success for this football team? I think it depends on who you ask. And I don't mean every single person walking down the street. I mean, if you ask most Alabama fans, it's got to be playoffs. And there probably needs to be some sort of championship, be it national or Southeastern Conference. I don't even know. I would like to hear from the listeners, Greg, where Southeastern Conference championship even ranks anymore. Because you and I, we have made this very clear before. That was our number one goal. Specifically, I think before your era of player at Auburn, Alabama, Tennessee, Florida, whatever it was, that came way first because national championship felt like a distant afterthought for a lot of SEC teams. The SEC didn't have the dominance. It didn't have the power it does in the media right now. So I'm interested, is that still extremely important to a lot of Alabama fans? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that for Tennessee fans, Auburn fans, anybody, because where we have gotten with conference championship games in just 1 year of this 12-team playoff, it does seem like the conversation around it has almost disappeared. We've talked about who can win it here, but I haven't heard a ton of fans walking around saying, man, I think we can get a conference championship this year. And if we do, that would be great.
I think it is a bit unfortunate because the ultimate goal was beat your rival, play for a conference title, and then, do whatever happens after that is just icing on the cake, right? That was our generation. Like, rival won, then get the conference championship game 2, and then, hey, what happens. Let it fall into place, right? It's definitely different, and I don't like that, especially if for whatever reason the whole college football world decides to abandon ship and decides to go with the 4-4-2-2-1-1 model, then we're really not going to care about conference championships. You know what I mean? You're going to care more about the consolation games that get into the playoff than you do the conference championship. So, yeah, it's definitely different, and it's kind of uncomfortable if I'm going to be honest.
So what do you view as, and I understand you like me will answer this in different ways. It's a contextual question for us because we're going to look at individual position groups. We're going to look at individual players. We'll take injuries into account. We'll take other teams, maybe how they grow, what they do into account. But holistically, big picture view, what is success for Alabama this year? What's a successful season for Alabama?
I think this year, I don't think it should be universal. Like, it should be dependent on the year. Like, some years when you have nothing back and you're breaking in a whole new group and you do this and you do that. I mean, I would say, being in the top 25 is a good year for some programs. Like Arkansas, for example, this year, they're up. Like, I would say top 25. But I think for this version of Alabama, I think success is making the college football playoff. Whatever happens after that is great. If you make the college football playoff, I would define that as a really, really, really good year. When you go and make it to the semifinals of the college football playoff by winning a game or two, then it's an elite year. You go and make it to the national championship, phenomenal year. You win the national championship, all-time great year, right? I mean, so I think that's the way I look at it. But for this year's version of the Tide, I think it'd be great to make the playoff. That should be the goal.
Would you view this season as a failure if they did not make the college football playoff?
Depends on what the circumstances of the playoff are. I mean, you're a little bit dependent, like last year, on a team like SMU. Like, I thought last year was a successful season prior to the bowl game. I know that sounds crazy, but considering what Kalen DeBoer was working with, I thought the wheels didn't fall off to the point where you had a 7-5. And by the way, that can happen. I know that sounds like impossible, but last time I checked, Michigan was 7-5 playing in that bowl game. So it can happen, and Michigan won the national championship the year before. So it absolutely can happen. Don't ever like it to, but it is possible. So I think if you look at it, if they miss the playoffs this year, I think it'd be a real disappointment for sure. Failure is a little bit strong, but I think it'd be a real disappointment.
Well, we know that that's most likely going to be the mentality of a lot of Alabama fans. You guys tweet into the show, text into the show. Let us know your thoughts just on, is this season considered a failure if Alabama doesn't make the college football playoff? Text in 205-834-9450. Tweet in at Mac and Q. We'll get to some of that feedback. One thing that we did learn from the Alabama football representation yesterday was that Caden Proctor wants to smell good. And he was asked about a certain collection that he has, Greg, and this is what he said.
So how I see it is, if you're a big guy, you can't stink. You gotta be fresh, man. Because the narrative right now is, if you're big, you stanky, smelly, sweaty. Like that's not how it goes for me. So that's why I'm just saying, flip the narrative. and that's kind of something that started when I was in elementary school. My dad put a little cologne on, go to school smelling good for little ladies. So that's kind of what it's been now, carried over to my life. And right now I probably have 170 bottles of cologne.
You have your own brand?
I do not have my own brand. Maybe after talking about something like this, we'll see. But that's not really the motive right now. It's just really just
So 100
man.
170
or
bottles of
170
cologne?
same one.
I would imagine different. I don't know why you have 170. I'm not a cologne guy. I don't wear cologne, but I remember when I did middle school, high school, whatever it was. Like, doesn't a bottle of cologne last you like a year?
I think like forever. I mean, I don't think I've ever finished one.
And then next off, like us football players, like we're creatures of habit, like almost to a fault. How much time are you spending? Is this a daily, weekly? Like, is there an in-season cologne? Is there a Sunday cologne? Is there date night cologne? Is there? How often do we switch this up? How do we know when we switch it up? How do we know where we go? What we? I have so many questions here. I need to know what I need to go grab this whole interview and see what the follow-ups were, because I have a lot of questions about cologne. And if we have Alabama week 2, you better believe, like, Alex and the guys are going to have to get me to Caden Proctor's house to get some photographs of this cologne collection. We got to do a hit on this. Like, I need details here.
It is probably one of the more aggressive things I think I've ever heard. I'm not familiar with like cologne collecting. I mean, I'm familiar with a lot of collections as a guy that has several himself. I'm not one that would ever probably buy. I think I have one bottle of cologne. One.
Do we mix and match? Like, you remember when you remember at the ball field when you were a kid? I mean, we called them suicides. I'm not sure you're allowed to call them that anymore. But you get like Sun-Kissed, Sprite, Coke, Diet Coke, Grape Coke, Dr. Pepper, like all in the same cup. Like, is he concocting his own odors, like little Old Spice and some Drakkar, like a little Polo and Cool Wave?
Yeah, that feels dangerous. Yeah. That feels like meth making.
By the way,
I don't know.
I think I'm done right there. Like Polo, Drakkar, I might be done there. Old Spice, I might be done there. I don't know if I can give you another one.
No.
What was there was like a lime green bottle with cursive writing that got really popular. Curve, that was it. God, everybody had that. And then they did the blue Curve.
That was a cologne or a perfume?
It's not even funny. Honestly,
I'm not making fun of it.
It's not even a good joke. It's not even.
No one said it. I just when I think like a curve. I don't.
No one even laughed at that. Like, I don't.
No one's. It's not even a joke. It's literally asking the question. A curve to me does not sound like the most manly cologne name. I'm just being honest. It sounds a little bit more. But
Drakkar, that reeks of like rubbing dirt on your forearms. Like, yeah,
it does. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Polo.
Exactly right.
Put the hand
Polo. Now we're man. Yes.
No, Polo's a pretty sweet sport.
Old
never
Spice.
Seen it, but
yeah, that's manly, rugged.
See, that is manly. Those are 3 manly ones, and
might as well be
give me
brawny.
my Curve. Curve, I think, was a place where people used to work out. Like that's all I know about. Like I don't even know that. There used to be a gym where moms went. Like I remember that. I don't even know like what you're
talking
referring
about. Orange
to.
Theory?
No, it was called Curves. I think it might have been Curves.
You thinking of CrossFit?
Plural. No, definitely
Curves.
not.
Actually, you know what? I think I know what you're talking about. Curves, and that was the God, it was the machines.
It was like Pilates before Pilates, like 20 years ago.
You stood on the deal, and it was like the vibrating plates, and like you held the handles, and they shook real hard, and like that was your workout. I'm dead serious. I remember seeing this somewhere.
I don't know about that.
No, because I think there were. Well, yeah, I think you're right. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to stop there.
Anyways,
stop there.
Back in my day, the colognes of like the girls all decided that Abercrombie Fierce was the scent that they
Fierce.
wanted the guys
Now
to
we're
wear.
manly.
They like Fierce. It's better than Curves.
All right, here is according to, and I didn't know this was a thing until today, gentlemantoday.co. Okay, the top
sounds like a reliable site.
Top 5 best colognes for men in 2025. I can't even talk about this. Number 5, Hero by Burberry. Price
First of all,
unknown.
It's Burberry.
Burberry.
It's not Burberry.
Number 4, Gentleman Society by Givenchy. Number 3, Luna Rosa Ocean by Prada. Number 2, Savage by Dior. And the number 1 cologne for men, according to gentlemantoday.co, Glavite by Particle. Power and poise in a bottle. There you go. Gravite, Gravite, with the tilde over the E. That's not a tilde.
Yeah.
That's an apostrophe. Sorry.
Gravite.
Gravati by Particle. I mean, but think about it, though. Power and poise in a bottle. It's like you get Tom Brady and Quentin Nelson in one bottle.
Yeah, that's what you need. I got to be honest. Like, when someone comes up to me and they reek of cologne, I'm immediately like, and I'm talking like, now a little subtle cologne doesn't bother me. But if you're reeking of cologne, you all know the people that are like this.
It can be too much. It can be too much.
I dealt with a lot when I was living in New York. And I feel like the overpowering cologne, I'm judging you. Like it just like what are you masking? You know what I mean?
What are you covering up?
So what are you covering up? It makes me a little nervous. So it just always makes me a little uncomfortable when it's overpowering.
Okay. All right, we've got Greg Sankey coming up after our next break. First, Greg, tell our listeners about Bromberg's.
Bromberg's the best. Been going there forever. Always so grateful for the experience that I've had. But every time I walk in the door, the sales staff welcomes me with just a warm, warm welcome. They allow me to kind of meander around the store, and they kind of eventually point me in the right direction with what it is I'm looking for. They're so helpful. They're so knowledgeable. And the jewelry is so beautiful. So I highly recommend going and checking out Bromberg's. Also, it's wedding season, so if you have a gift that you need to pick up for someone that you care greatly about, go and get it at Bromberg's. I'm sure they're probably registered there, especially if they're here from here in Birmingham. So highly recommend going and check them out. It's Bromberg's in Mountain Brook Village and at the Summit.
Greg Sankey joins us here live from SEC Media Days next on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Greg is in. Where are you, Greg? Daphne? Mobile?
I'm in Point Clea, Alabama.
Oh, it's a great place. It's where I got married. So, beautiful spot.
I'm at the place you got married.
Greg Sankey, Commissioner of the Southeastern Conference, joining us now here live at SEC Media Days. Are you a cologne guy, Commissioner?
What do you mean cologne?
Do you wear cologne? Do you have cologne?
Not typically.
No?
I have, there's this shaving cream stuff, or this shaving company, and they have an aftershave lotion that's lavender, but I don't think that counts as cologne.
No. Well, Caden Proctor said he has 170 bottles of cologne yesterday. I just need to know the process of that decision-making and how that operates.
So I spent, I was up with my parents. My parents have collected a lot of things. I mean, a lot. And when I leave their house, I go back to my house and I eliminate because I do not want a lot of clutter. So 170 bottles of cologne, I would be eliminating things. It's too much, in my opinion. But good for him.
I feel like, do you display those? I don't even know what you would even do with 170 bottles, but I digress. Commissioner, it's been a great week, and it all got started with your comments on Monday. Really kind of intrigued by after being at Big 12 last week and being with us at the SEC. Everyone seems to be kind of leaning into the playoff model and what's best for their specific league. You've been hard on the 5+11 model, but you're very content now, it sounds like, with staying at 12. So when did this, hey, we'll stay at 12 revelation kind of come to be?
It's simply a reality. If we cannot agree, we have a format. There seems to be, at least coming in, hopefully I've re-educated people, this notion there isn't a format. If you don't decide something between now and the magic date that's been identified of November 30th, what are we going to do? The sky's falling. And I enjoy reading those articles because they're entertaining for me, but that's not reality. And I'll continue to work on an updated format. I think we don't just need to say, we want this, we want that. We have to explain the why. And hopefully over the week, I've tried to break down the why. Something other than 12 is on our mind. That said, I was involved in developing the 12-team playoff originally, and we went deep into reasons and needs and trying to balance wants with those needs, and it worked fairly well, or very well, the first year. And there are, again, reasons that you can consider expanding, but not every one of the ideas is supported by great rationale.
Chris Lowe has an article out in a discussion with you yesterday on the 9-game conference schedule that potentially the Southeastern Conference could go to at some point in time. Can you share with our listeners what might be the hurdle that would definitively get us there, or maybe would keep us from getting there to a 9-game conference schedule, if there is anything close to the one thing?
The ultimate hurdle would be a vote of our membership, and it's a majority vote. That would be it. Go to a meeting, take a vote.
We're ready.
If 9 of 16 raise their hand to say yes, you do something. If something less than 9 raise their hand, you don't do something.
And part of the problem with that going to it, and maybe part of the problem going to that, is strength of schedule across all of college football, and then how that pertains to the college football playoff. You shared with us on the desk yesterday or the day before, I don't know how many days I've been here or even what day it is, that it is problematic right now with what a lot of people are doing in their scheduling. There are big non-conference games being canceled because we're going the opposite direction of where we thought we were going to go. We thought the 12-team playoff would take us to these very difficult schedules and people were going to understand if you lost 2 or 3 games. But you pointed out that we're going a different direction in a lot of places with that, and that could be very problematic moving forward.
Yes, we're going different directions, and even in our own conference, we have those who are looking now at the college football playoff selection process as favoring wins over losses. So you could have a quality loss and the detrimental nature of that, and if there's a couple of them, is tough to overcome in the selection process. And so that suggests reduce the strength of your schedule, and I think that's what you're seeing happen on a national basis. I also think we should be clear, because you've seen the rhetoric, There are those who observe, well, the SEC only plays 8 games. We play 9 in our conference. Therefore, we must have a tougher schedule. And we're not going to play more non-conference games until they do something. Well, okay. I didn't. We've been doing it this way for decades. It's not been a secret that we play 8 games. Others really made scheduling decisions around their TV contracts. And, hey, that's great. Still, when you look at the information that we had reviewed in Destin, and I was transparent, criticized for being transparent, ironically, and shared the analytics we were looking at, our conference stands in a different category competitively in football, both at the top and in the continuum of depth. And let me give you the strength of schedule analysis that was provided us. Very simple. This was at a CFP meeting. If you play the first-ranked team and the 130th ranked team, that averages out to 65.5. Okay? If you play 65 and 66, that averages out to 65.5. So you should play team 65 and 66. Don't play 1 and 130. You got a better chance of losing against number 1. Well, that's an unsophisticated analysis of a strength of schedule. And it doesn't suggest there should be more strength. And here's the problem, is we don't have teams typically 65 and above in our conference schedule. You're playing all top 50 teams in whatever metric it is, Sagarin, Massey, ESPN, FBI, SOS, CIA, NRA, I don't know what it is. We don't have those teams. And so our teams are playing embedded in their season a more challenging schedule, more rigorous schedule than any other conference. And if you go back and grab the information that we shared, you weren't there so you didn't get a copy, but some of your friends did. It's apparent. And that's not my information. I'm just poor innocent me trying to inform the American public about the reality of Southeastern Conference football.
Oh, yeah, as people that played it, you don't need to inform us, I can assure you. And I think for most of our listeners, they're well informed as well.
Well, and add to it the week after week after week nature of that and the intensity of the games and the strength of the teams. That's just a different reality during a season.
There's no doubt.
Anyway, go ahead, Greg. I'm sorry. You're in.
Yeah, no, you're
point
good.
clear.
No, I fiercely. Do I want to see 9 personally, selfishly? Yeah, because I like the inventory. I like watching the games. But I don't think you absolutely need to, under any circumstances, if we're defending the strength of the schedule, especially when you look at some of the schedules this year, with teams playing multiple P5 teams. Commissioner, looking at the criteria and strength of schedule, and just kind of removing the 8 versus 9 debate for a moment, how do you adjust the criteria? Because everybody's singing the same song. We want strength of schedule to matter. We want strength of schedule to matter. Brett Yormark says the same thing. You've been saying it loudly for a while. How do we change the criteria? Do we have to change the committee members that are sitting on the playoff committee? What do you have to do to get that in place?
This is my opinion, and I'll try to be as helpful as I can be. And first of all, this shouldn't be, as we think about problem solving on a big topic, just like something we fly by. This should require intentional discussion, just like the creation of the 12-team playoff. I mean, the number of meetings and lockdown in conference rooms we went through to get there, that's the description I'm talking about. So first of all, the protocol that exists was created around implementation of the 4-team playoff, and it worked well there. But understand, you're comparing teams that are like 12-0 or 13-0 and 12-1, 11. I mean, there's a pretty narrow bandwidth of teams that were ever considered to be in the top 4. And you get to have controversy when we had a team finish 5th. Generally, that was accepted. You know, you got the Florida State situation from a couple of years ago. But teams 5 and 6, they might gripe, but it wasn't like cataclysmic. Because most of the years, remember, people would say, "Oh, yeah, those are the top 4." Now, what we've done with the 12-team playoff is we've created 4 different groups of 4 that have to be evaluated for what the reward is. The top 4 have a bye. The next 4 have a home game. The next 4 get in, and the next 4 are left out. My opinion is there was not the forethought, even though it was suggested back in 21 and raised repeatedly, to look at, okay, as we extend down and have more teams, does the protocol support the selection of those teams in each of those categories? how do you deeply review, and how do you understand the implications of those selection decisions? So start there. Take the current protocol, look at the segments of decision making, and evaluate, is this still relevant protocol? Second, there's a list of bullet points within the protocol that starts with strength of schedule, then it's head-to-head competition, then it's record against common opponents, then it's other factors like injuries. How are those supposed to be evaluated? Do you just throw them all into a group and whatever somebody thinks is a priority, or are those prioritized? I would argue there's a priority there, because you would never weight record against common opponents against a head-to-head situation. So if Team A beat Team B, and then Team A lost to Team D, and Team B played Team D but beat them, you never overweight the second level things. So make sure that clarity's there. And then as you look at strength of schedule, it has to be more complex than what I just described. It can't just be an average of your opponent's relative rankings, and if you played one and beat them, that's great, but it doesn't have any more meaning than beating 65. That's not a valid analysis. And so I think some of the weighting around playing and beating better teams matters. And then there's something called strength of record, and I'm not an analytics guy. Like when I was in stats in grad school, one time I skipped my stats class to go to a World Wrestling Federation event. That's a true
like
story.
You made the right decision.
I did too. I couldn't take it.
Who was the headliner that night?
Randy Macho Man Savage and King Kong Bundy.
You absolutely made the right decision.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And Axe and Smash.
Steel cage match?
Axe and Smash, the Ultimate Warriors.
Absolutely.
It's late 80s professional wrestling in the Onondaga County War Memorial Arena. So that may have been the day where the faculty member, hadn't meant a lot either before or after that, but maybe that was the day he illuminated how the college football playoff analytics should go. That said, I think strength of record, which takes into account what's happening within your team and who you play, where you play, those sorts of things. Like Ohio State at Oregon, that is probably the best loss. You're on the road,
Absolutely.
highly ranked team, you're played close. That shouldn't be a punitive situation in an evaluation. Northern Illinois beats Notre Dame at home. That doesn't mean it excludes Notre Dame. That's a tough loss. I mean, that's a very different loss than Ole Miss losing at Florida to a team that ends up with a winning record, relatively speaking. So how are those types of things evaluated, I think should be added and considered more deeply in this process. So that's how I would look at the process. I don't think it's about, committee members per se. You want people with expertise. We need to make sure that we're digging in to have expertise. But this notion, first of all, I think my good friend Lane Kiffin said commissioners shouldn't be on there. There are no commissioners on the selection committee. And I agree with Lane. I agree with Lane. And I've said that. Even retired commissioners shouldn't be on. So I will never be on the CFP selection committee whenever my retirement day comes. Athletic directors are embedded in the game. A lot of them participated in the game as coaches or players. I think you want that knowledge. Now, you're going to have recusals. You have outsiders who played, and you have others in the media category who can contribute. We have this pendulum swing. We don't like the BCS ratings, and it's just computers. Remember that era? We need people making these decisions. Well, now we have some of this. We don't like the people. We need computers making the decision. I think we're someplace in the middle. The pendulum needs to find an equilibrium.
We've had the discussion on this show multiple times, and Commissioner, it is mind-boggling to me the amount of listeners that call in and are banging the drum loudly for the computers to come back and only the computers to make these decisions. I would love for it to be, here's our personal computer rankings. This is what goes into them. These are our guidelines that we use to begin our decision-making process. So I can lay that in front of you. If you're on the committee, you look at it and say, okay, well, that's great that you have Notre Dame second. I don't believe that they're second, and these are the reasons why. But we can have that as a starting point and at least use that.
Well, remember, the computers left Auburn out of the national championship in the BCS.
That's why I hate them.
2000. Yeah, there's a forgetfulness about the computers being used.
I did want to ask you this. Everything that you just laid out from a protocol standpoint with the committee, is one of our flaws that we have not made that more transparent to the public? I don't think a lot of people know that there are any sort of parameters or guidelines that the committee actually goes by. I think there's a lot of confusion there. Even the conversation around best, most deserving, there seems to be a flaw with the college football playoff that the definitive way that teams are decided to get in is not even clear from a verbiage standpoint, at least.
That's fair. That's something to think about. I will say I went through the mock selection exercise, which isn't like people standing around making fun of you as you pick teams, but kind of the faux exercise. And it was the first time I'd done so, and I'm in my 11th year as commissioner. It was really illuminating. I think that process, which has invited media in to learn that, it's not always communicated out, is interesting. And so we saw 4 screens, Team A, B, C, and D. Team A was Tennessee, and it had all kinds of analytics. It had their record. They're in. I didn't spend a lot of time there because Tennessee was selected. There wasn't much debate. Then you had 2 teams from other conferences, and then you had Alabama. Well, one of the illuminating factors for me is Alabama played 8 of its 12 games against teams with 6-6 records or better. And that's denoted a winning record has, like, you beat Georgia, it's dark green. That's a really good win. In fact, that's the best win of the year since Georgia was second. Ole Miss had one of those as well. And as you go down to a 6-6 team with a win, it's a lighter shade of green. But 8 of the 12 games are against teams with winning records. They're compared, so the screen next to Alabama is another team that had 4 games against teams 6-6 or better. They went 3-1. How do you compare those two? And are we rewarding just accumulating victories, or are we rewarding the best football teams? And that really made an impression on me, and suggests, and I'll listen to the data scientists explain if I'm wrong, that we're actually looking at like these kind of gross categories without refining them into the right qualitative type data. I did attend my statistics class at grad school, and they talked about the difference between qualitative and quantitative.
But you did the mock for the 12 team?
Yes.
I haven't done the 12. I did it for the 4. And it was interesting going back to what you said very early in this conversation about how kind of once you get past 3, 4, 5, like those, when we had a 4-team playoff, we pretty much knew. There was not a ton of debate between 5 and 4, 4 and 6, whatever that was.
So remember, can I just jump in? Like 1 and 2 were always obvious.
Right.
I mean, that was almost universally obvious. You get to 3, and I bet you all but 1 or 2 years that was clear. It was like the 4-5 debate, and maybe it was 3, 4, 5, 6. That was the continuum. So now what happens is you still have the 3, 4, 5, 6 analysis. You have to dig more deeply. It's probably clear because you're talking about teams that are, 11-1, 12-0,
right?
Maybe, but probably not 10-2. Maybe 11-2 with a conference champion, which means high quality wins. That's what happened last year. Now, when you go to the next segment, you're going to get into 10-2s versus some 11-1s, and 9-3 is going to slip into that conversation. That's a different level of analysis.
Totally. I told people
when you go to the next level, it's even more. And let me give you one last point and why the reason to grow to 16 from our perspective. Alabama and Ole Miss had wins over Georgia, the best wins on the board. Georgia was the second best team at the end of the year in the CFP selection committee rankings. If you have a team that can defeat 2 teams that can defeat the second best team in the country, on any given Saturday, they can make a run. And we've displaced teams. So Clemson, who the only reason the ACC champion in is because we voted to expand the playoff. So for everybody asks about our responsibility for the good of the game, like put that one on blast, okay? Ohio State's not in the playoff if we don't expand. Arizona State, Boise State are not in the playoff if we don't expand. The benefits accrued to others, and the adjustment has to be made to properly evaluate all of these teams. And when you're sitting there with teams that can beat the number 2 team in the country, it makes you think, wow, there's a broader bandwidth of competition here than maybe we acknowledged in past years.
Before I let you run, we did 2 different seasons of the 4 team, and when we mocked them, we had almost no debate about which 4 teams should be in. But when we got to 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, that room got heated. And those didn't even matter at that time. We weren't talking about teams that should be in, but
Right.
who should be 8, who should be 10, why was a team 14, why was another team 12? I mean, there was a lot of back and forth there, but to your point that you can get through the first 4, 6, maybe even 7, but after that, it's very difficult to decide between 9, 10, 11, 12, the difference between those teams.
Well,
it's
and
tough.
the lesson of the decision-making process that we used, which required unanimity, that dates back to something set up in 2013, 2014, caused us collectively to sit on our hands for a year and a half. And the vision of the subcommittee on which I served is, here's everything we looked at, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 16. I think we threw in just notes about 32 and 64, but didn't spend any time there. We were asked to bring a recommendation. The recommendation was a 12-team playoff with 6 conference champions. Pac-12 went away. It went down to 5. But at the time it was introduced, it was, we've done this work, and part of what we've done is to identify issues that need to be addressed. And rather than address those issues and use the years of time to prepare, we sat on our hands because people became obstinate and feelings were hurt, membership moved, we're going to stand in the way. Now we're trying to catch back up to that in real time. That is one of the lessons of decision making, where I don't think there should be a czar, but there are those times where I think just let somebody,
Sure.
let me just tell you how this should go.
Right. Thanks for taking some time.
Or
Commissioner.
Greg McElroy. I don't really care. It could be, or Cole.
I feel like you're much more qualified
We'll
than he would be.
collaborate.
Yeah, there you go. I know you have a busy day. We appreciate you stopping by with us. Thanks for hanging out.
The rumors that I'm returning to coaching golf are not true. I just want to make sure we're clear about that.
Are you playing too much golf, though? That's
No.
the question.
I don't think you can. I think we should have coaches that go fishing, that go hiking, that go play golf. When I met
Nobody complains about all your marathons.
when
It
I
says
went,
you should be focusing on
I think those are healthy.
football.
Those are healthy. For people to be healthy, they need to do those things. When I met Spurrier first time, Steve Spurrier, I'm like, "Do you play a lot of golf?" He's like, "Look, I'm not going to sit there and watch film so I can tell everybody I watched film till 10 o'clock at night. When I'm coaching football, I got to coach football, but I am going to go play golf. That's a healthy thing for me. I think it is."
I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think most people would agree, but fanatics might not agree.
But
with you on
I
that.
want to be clear that the rumors of me returning to coaching college golf are not accurate.
Okay.
You never say never, though. Don't rule it out. Anything can happen, Commissioner.
I'm
Sankey,
saying
you know
never. I'm saying never.
that. You're putting your foot down there. Fair enough.
All right. We'll get to a break. I appreciate the Commissioner, Greg Sankey, hanging out with us for a few moments right here on Jox. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Great visit there with Greg Sankey, Commissioner of the SEC. We go now to the Executive Director of the Senior Bowl, Drew Fabianich, joining us live from Media Days. Is this your first Media Days?
Oh, this is my first Media Day.
Are you you have to be completely exhausted because we know what's coming and we're exhausted.
Well, I think I've probably gone by your desk probably 50 times.
At least.
I've probably looped this place. I think I've hit almost every single table in the, what do they call it? I call it Radio Road, Digital Drive. I mean, it's quite an experience now. It really is. But I'm sure that the people out there and the fans and everything are getting their fill because
no doubt
there's tons of content going out there, and I think it's important for that.
Do you use this to have conversations with some of the players that are here, ask coaches about some of the players you might be taking a look at? What is the primary goal that you've been able to accomplish here this week?
To meet the SIDs that I did not know, to meet the head coaches that I did not know, to kind of have those relationships that I've already formed with those head coaches, because I won't ask them so much about the player, but if there's a way that I can help them through the process, I'd be glad to. As many players as I can talk to, I have, just to let them know the value of the Senior Bowl and how their draft stock could be built exponentially by playing in the game. So that's really what I've tried to do. And again, if anybody wants to talk to me on, Radio Row, Digital Drive, the more exposure that we can get and people understand how important the game is, that's a conduit for me, for them to help me.
Looking at how the game, and by the way, I'm like down in Point Clear right now, so if you're wondering where I'm speaking, I'm right in your backyard. I'll go recruit on behalf of the Senior Bowl today. So I'm looking at the Senior Bowl long term, and I'm really, really proud of its commitment to Mobile. And I know we've talked about this in the past, but I want to stay in Mobile. I want to continue to be a destination for NFL teams all over the world. How do we continue to support the Senior Bowl locally in Mobile, but also across the state?
I just think people ought to actually come to the game, within the state. I mean, it was a sellout for the last 2 years, but I've never been, but I've heard that it was an incredible experience. They put on a great game. The game was great last year. The finish was, incredible. And the thing is people talk about, hey, is it going to stay? Hell yes, it's going to stay, because where can you point to any other All-Star game that sells out a game? There's not one. And a matter of fact, there are some, and I'll go without even naming them, that have moved around. And let me see, my 18 years, I think I went to 8 different locations for one of the All-Star games. Okay, well, why is that? Well, it's because no community supports their game that wherever they move it, like Mobile does. This is Mobile's game, and it's Mobile's week. And put it this way, the Senior Bowl charities are involved in the community throughout the year, not just during game week. It's everywhere from the Hall of Fame, induction in May to the second biggest charity golf tournament in the entire state, follows the next day. There's the draft party was huge. There's kickoff parties. We had the MPAP, which is Mobile and Mobile County. Mobile and Baldwin County Leadership Conference, in July. There's something going on that involves the Senior Bowl throughout the year, and the city of Mobile is involved with all of it. So I don't think there's any risk of this game moving anywhere else, because there's no other place that's going to support it like that.
Is there an aspect inside the calendar that you've looked at that said you feel like might need to change anything around the game where would better suit the players, better suit the scouts, better suit the process?
Yeah, I did. And what we're trying to do, and again, this is about the players, because if we don't have the players, we don't have a game. Well, I want them to leave with a pleasurable experience throughout. And the one thing I can tell you is going through this process as a scout and, and going down there for 18 straight years, the formal interview process was an absolute beating at night, because you'd gone through an entire day of practice, grabbing lunch quick, going to another practice, coming back, grabbing a quick dinner, going there from 7 to 10 every single night. Well, I was burned out. Well, I can't imagine what the players felt like.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, we got to change. We got to change some things. So what I did is I bumped it to where the only evening that they're going to interview is Monday night, because there's no practice on Monday. And from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they were all going to be in the morning, because there was that huge dead period in the morning where they were just having a 45-minute meeting, and that was it. Mm-hmm. It was breakfast and there's a big gap. Well, push practice back 45 minutes per practice, have the interview process in the morning. Last practice is going to finish at 6. Well, that also helps the community. because now the parent can take the
Yep.
children out to the practice and
That's
they can
great.
actually see it, because it used to end at 4:30. Well, how many parents were going to take work off, or how many kids were going to get rushed right from school out there? Because these people want to go see those kids, because not everybody can go to the game. I mean, there could be something going on that weekend. I mean, if they want to come to the practice, I mean, at least they can see the best against the best. Well, what it does is it also frees up the evenings for the personnel, and it used to be kind of the unofficial convention of the NFL coaches, because they never have a gathering. Well, they used to all come. Well, as soon as they started doing, the interviews every single night, all the coaches said, well, heck, we're going to see these guys down at the combine anyway. Well, I'll just do it then, because, I mean, heck, I can't even see anybody I need to see. I can't network. I can't look for another job. Well, the coaches that I've talked to in the league that I brought this up to, they're like, sweet, we're coming again. And they're going to come down to evaluate, and they're also going to come down to network and help themselves, better themselves for, positions later on. So it's benefiting the players, but it's also benefiting the coaches. It's also benefiting the player personnel people, and it's also benefiting the community. Because one of the restaurants, one of the owners told me that they had Wednesday night off last year of interviews. That was the only night they had off. He said that he sold out every single private room that he had and had the best business night that he had had in 2 years that night. I said, well, guess what? I said, you're going to get that Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday now. And he was like, sweet.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's the tweaks that I'm, trying to make. And again, I hope it's – again, I'm not going to make everybody happy, Cole. I'm not.
No, it's not possible.
No, but guess what? If I make 80% of them happy and I make the players happy, I'm thrilled.
Absolutely. Drew Fabianitz, the executive director of the Senior Bowl. We're excited about it. Obviously, Greg and I love being any part of it whatsoever. The fans all enjoy it. And appreciate you stopping by. We're low on time. Going to have to get to a break. But I will remind you again, that Panini box of National Treasures, whenever you're ready to get that sent over, I can give you my address when we're done here. We'll get that done. So
appreciate it.
Excited for you in year one. So
yeah,
good luck
you.
with everything, and we appreciate the time today.
Yeah,
so
appreciate you guys.
Little Senior Bowl conversation right here from SEC Media Days. Cole Cubelic, Greg McElroy. We'll have more coming. Eli Drinkwitz, Missouri head coach, going to join us. Mike Elko, A&M head coach, going to join us. All from the College Football Hall of Fame here in Atlanta on Jox. Again, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, live from the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, SEC Media Days, Day 4. Coming up on the show, Chris Lowe, article out now on heading to 9 conference games in the SEC. Is it going to happen? When? How? Why? Also, Billy Lucci talks Texas A&M. Aggie's going to be in the house today. He's with us next hour. Texas A&M, Kentucky, Missouri, Arkansas, all in the house today. And final hour of the show, Eli Drinkwitz, Mike Elko. They close out Media Days for us right here on Jox. Don't forget about Game Day Men's Health. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com right now. Sign up for the free consultation. You get the PSR test, the testosterone test. Find out exactly where your health is. They're going to have weight loss programs for you and testosterone replacements for you. Go see them now at GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Back with more from SEC Media Days next on Jox. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, live from SEC Media Days, College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta. Final day, Texas A&M, Kentucky, Missouri, Arkansas on tab today as we continue to roll along. Final day, trying to bust through this one. And as we continue here, Greg, before we get to Chris Lowe, tell our listeners about Shannara Flooring.
Well, Shannara Flooring, Fu and his guys do such a great job around the house, making sure that your home looks as good after as you could possibly imagine. And look, it's a big job. Naturally, I mean, you're installing new floors. Things can go wrong. They go the extra mile to protect your home, to protect your floors, to make sure that they install them in a timely fashion. They have 40,000 square feet of Core-Tech flooring in stock right now, which is tremendous because they're giving it away, $10 off per box of that Core-Tech flooring by Shaw. That's that beautiful, durable, waterproof, pet-proof flooring that will add value to your home or business. So go and check out Fu and his company right now at Shannara Flooring by going to fuandyou.com.
Before we get to Chris Lowe, I know you didn't see this, Greg, because you're not on social media, but Sandra Golden, who is affiliated with the radio station here in Atlanta, just tweeted this out. The great mystery at hashtag SEC Media Days, day 3 of these ginormous Coca-Cola bottles just sitting there. Who do you think they belong to? The two 2 liters of Coke are still sitting here under the bench. No one's claimed them. No one's grabbed them. These things have been knocked over. The bags have been pulled down. The bags have been pulled back up. They've been set back up after being knocked over, but no one has claimed these 2 liters of Coca-Cola. And they were dropped off early day 1, Chris Lowe, or day 2, excuse me. We showed up day 2, and they were here, and they're still just sitting there.
Yeah, I think we should send him to Lane. He loves Coca-Cola.
Really?
Sort of being facetious there. Maybe he was ripping on one of their corporate
That's right.
sponsors earlier this year.
Coke bottles, yeah.
Who drinks Coke? Who would still drink Coke? It's sitting right there on the
I don't know
podium
a lot of people that drink regular Coke anymore, but the fact that someone had those in a plastic bag, set them down, how do you just forget that you're carrying 2 liters around? Where'd my 2 liters go?
Where are they? Hey, if nobody claims them by today, will you bring us back? We could use those in the office.
I think you're good.
I like
think
Coke
we'll be okay
still
with that.
very
I
much.
got enough junk I got to put in my car and bring home from this thing. Chris Lowe is with us live here at SEC Media Days now. 9-game schedule, the article that you have up. Are we going to go there? Ask Commissioner Sankey if there was an obstacle in the way or a hurdle that would definitively decide yes or no. He kind of laughed and he said, yeah, a vote of our presidents. Essentially, that's it. But what are the other indicators that we should be paying attention to that may actually get us there or may prevent us from getting there?
Yeah, well, Cole, you and Greg know this. The coaches don't want to play, but the coaches don't decide.
Yep.
They're not the ones that are making the decision. Clearly, Greg Sankey wants to play 9 games. I mean, he's made that clear and clear the more you talk to him. Feels like they should. Let's work toward some type of agreement that we do play 9. I think the other caveat here is the Big Ten doesn't want to do the 5-11 format in the playoff unless the SEC plays 9 games. The timelines don't add up for when the SEC needs to decide if they're going to go to 9 games because they got to get that schedule ready for 26 to when the playoff needs to be figured out for 26, which is, I think, December the 1st. So that's a little bit of a snag. My sense, again, in talking to Commissioner Sankey, presidents, chancellors, ADs, is that we will get to 9 games. I think the question is, guys, can we get it done in time for the 26th season? That's what I don't know.
Okay.
Looking at the 9-game conference schedule, I know that there are fears about just the cannibalization. I understand that. I am a full supporter of the 9-game, have been forever. Don't we also need to protect the gate revenue? Don't we also need to make sure that we have people going to the games and the likelihood of people going to the games? I'm not saying at all places. The SEC does a pretty good job with attendance. But shouldn't we value home games more? Shouldn't we do more to make better matchups as opposed to the FCS schools that we've played traditionally? I mean, are we moving in that direction, Chris?
Well, I think we should, Greg. I think we you owe it to the fans. I mean, it costs more than it's ever cost to go to a college football game. I mean, you've got talent fees now being placed on tickets for fans. Tennessee did that. Other schools will find ways to do that. Parking fees, donation fees, just to buy tickets. I mean, if you're a dad who's got 3 kids and middle class, family, it's hard to justify paying to sit down on the lower deck what it costs to go to a college football game now. You guys have seen the ticket prices. So if we're going to do that, let's add at least one more marquee game. And I still think it's going to be worth a lot more money. Our company, someone's going to kick in more money to play another marquee conference game. I don't have any doubt that's going to.
We were having that conversation with Commissioner Sankey a little bit earlier. And do people sort of forget when the Big Ten went to 9 conference games that Fox deal was right there a long hand at the same time. Like we just kind of feel like they did that for fun.
Right.
But there was a gigantic media rights deal behind that also.
Massive. I mean, listen, it always gets back to the dollars and cents in these types of decisions. And with schools having to pay $20.5 million now in rev share, chancellors, ADs, presidents, they're all sort of freaking out a little bit. Where we're going to get this money? They're always they're looking for new revenue streams, and I think that would be one way to make it happen. Going back to what Greg said, though, absolutely the SEC should play 9 games. It makes me sad that we don't see Auburn and Florida as much anymore. We don't see Tennessee and Auburn as much anymore.
Yeah.
Heck, Georgia and Alabama haven't played a whole lot in the regular season over the years. They've met in the playoff or they've met in the SEC championship game. But those marquee games, here's the other thing. If we stay at 8, they're going to have to flip the schedule. I think we're going to lose some rivalries. Let's say 26, we stay at 8 games in the SEC. I think we might lose Alabama, Tennessee that year. We might lose Georgia, Auburn.
Don't you say that. Don't you say that.
You wait and see, Greg. I'm telling you, because you're going to have to flip it. Because it can't be the same schedule we've had the last 2 years.
Right.
Because think about this. Here's the scenario.
Are those the only two? Auburn, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee. I had somebody tell me yesterday, say,
Auburn, LSU, we lost, and I was beside myself about it. And I don't even have an affiliation with either one of those two schools. Like, that's a game I cared greatly about.
But here, if you're Texas, let's just use Texas. You got Texas A&M. You got Texas OU at the Cotton Bowl. That ain't going away.
No.
All right, so what happens at Texas A&M? Arkansas, Texas is a big deal. So there are a lot of those type games I think maybe we don't have on our front burner that are big deals. But here's why you can't just have the same schedule if you have to stay at 8 in that third year. Can you imagine the Georgia fans? So Georgia played at Alabama the first year of it. Alabama's playing at Georgia this year. Let's say you just continue that schedule for a third year, and Georgia had to go back to Alabama. How do you think they'll like that in Athens, Greg?
I'm not sure they'd be real thrilled about that. But there's so many games that, and even not big rivalries, but games I care greatly about that I've missed. You know, Bama, Mississippi State is one. Not necessarily a rivalry from Bama's perspective, but that's a game because of the proximity of the two schools I want to see back on the schedule. So I hope we end up at 9. I think it's the right thing to do, and that would at least allow for some scheduling uniformity. But I think there needs to be concessions made by the College Football Playoff Committee and an acknowledgement that the SEC is deeper and better. I know people don't want to acknowledge that, but it's deeper and better, and there's more talent in the league. So therefore, a 9-3 SEC team when compared to a 10-2 team from another conference, I think the SEC should be given a real strong look, even though their record's not as good, to potentially getting in over a team with a slightly better record. So how likely is the committee to actually adopt that reasoning?
Well, they didn't last year. That much is clear. And talking to Commissioner Sankey yesterday, Brent Venables made the best point. He said, listen, we all want to be given credit. And remember, Brent's coached in the ACC, coached forever at Clemson. He said, in this league, we all want to be given credit for the schedules we play. And the dirty little secret is this. Just about everybody in the SEC plays somebody out of conference, too. In some cases, 2 blue blood type programs. Now, you don't know when you schedule these games out. For instance, when Alabama scheduled Florida State, they didn't know Florida State would have sort of hit a downturn. But the last 2 national champions, guys, and I know you guys know this, played nada in the non-conference schedule. They didn't play a single power conference team. Michigan didn't 2 years ago. Ohio State didn't last year. It didn't hurt them. So I think you should be able to play. I think you should play, to your point, guys, at least 10 good games. However you want to set that up, you should play at least 10 good games. 10 games against power conference teams.
Okay. I meant to ask you when you first sat down, are you a cologne guy?
No, but Caden Proctor is.
Yeah, we were just debating how you even manage that. How do you?
What do you say? 170
bottles.
His answer was classic. I said, when I was talking to him, he says, yeah, I just got to change the narrative, man. He said, us big guys are known as being stanky.
I know. We listened to the clip, and first off, I think the Mark Schlereth disrespect is on another level there. Second off, I just need to know the decision-making process.
I don't know. Tim Keenan, his teammate, said he samples them from time to time. He said the key is not getting the real strong stuff, the stuff that's a little milder. That the guy that walks in the room 20 feet away when you're in a meeting.
Oh,
As soon as you walk through the door, you
Greg
smell
brought
it.
that up earlier. Yeah, no one wants that.
No, so
needs that.
Caden says the key is to sort of find that right mix. But
You think he tries his own concoctions? Like he
said he does.
He'll
mixes
mix them
Yes,
together?
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's bold. So, what would you view as a successful season for Alabama this year?
Well, number one, playoff. You got to get to the playoff and play for it. I think number two, to play more consistently and not play, because I thought at times they played down to their competition. That rarely happened under Saban. Heck, the guy won 100 straight games against unranked teams. Think for all his
We've been told
accomplishments.
we're not allowed to talk about Saban.
Well, okay. Well, the guy that coached before Kalen DeBoer. How about that? So I think playing more consistently and not playing down to the competition and getting to the playoff and having a chance to play for it all. Listen, the standard doesn't change at Alabama. You better be playing for championships every year, as Greg McElroy well knows is going to be hell to pay.
Looking at Kalen though, I get the sense, and I know him pretty well. I knew the Washington version of Kalen, and now I know the Alabama version of Kalen. I get the sense that he really does like this team. I get the sense now because nobody went in the portal. Like, everybody had options. Everybody could have gone. Everybody could have left. If you don't like the way Kalen's doing it, then the world is your oyster. You can go. That's fine. And nobody did. I get the sense, though, that the players really, really like Kalen's approach. And I think you're going to see a real unified effort this year because of how much more comfortable they are operating in his world, in his program. How do you think that's going to – I mean, have you sensed the same thing, Chris, I guess is the right question.
Yeah, Greg, I would say he feels like he knows this team a lot better, knows the nuances, knows the kids, what buttons to press with different kids, much more so than he did last year. I think that in talking to Kalen in the spring and a couple times this summer and then yesterday or 2 days ago, that's the thing that jumped out at me. But talking to guys like Deontay Lawson, and Tim Keenan, they raved about how this guy was somebody they could go to. And that had nothing to do with the guy that coached before DeBoer. I don't want to make comparisons, but somebody they could go to, someone that they liked playing for, someone that they felt like was always going to be there no matter what the case, football, non-football. I think that will resonate much more. I think it will translate onto the field this year. The other thing is the continuity. You throw, they didn't lose anybody. And defensively, if a guy like Lawson is healthy, now he had the ACL the last week of the season. That guy's healthy. He's as good a linebacker as there is in football. I think on defense, they will be significantly better. And they weren't terrible last year.
No, not at all. Chris Lowe with us here at SEC Media Days, live from the College Football Hall of Fame. I wanted to just kind of go around the league a little bit more. You've been able to get to multiple facilities, visit with multiple coaches. We've talked about the middle of this pack here, so let's exclude Alabama, Georgia, Texas, and we'll even put LSU in that category for now. It feels like 8-10 teams right there that could leap forward and compete for a conference title or could be around 500. South Carolina, Auburn, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Florida. Who am I missing in there? Missouri, I think, would be a team that we would talk about there. South Carolina would be one of those teams. Of who you've spoken to, been around, talked to, has any of those teams given you extra reason to think they might be the one that separates from sort of that pack?
The schedule doesn't help, but I think Oklahoma will be a lot better. I really do. Their schedule is very difficult.
Yep.
I really like John Mateer.
Yep.
Cole, we talked about him last night. I think SEC fans are going to love watching this kid play.
Yep.
He's 230 pounds. He's the only player in the country last year to throw for 3,100 yards and rush for 800 yards. He's hungry. I think those kids at Oklahoma, and Brent did a nice job in the portal, going out and plugging holes. I think they'll be a lot better. Schedule's hard. The other team, and their schedule's hard too, but I can't help but think Florida's not going to be a lot better football team from the start of the season. They were really good at the end.
Right.
And Billy, talking to Billy yesterday and some of his leaders, I think they understand that starting the season better, being not bought in, but just being more focused on what they needed to do to win those type of games. They had tough games early. They played Miami and Texas A&M. I was at the A&M game that was in the Swamp, and they were awful.
Mm-hmm.
They were awful, and I didn't think he was going to survive. And to his credit, he kept that locker room together. He never lost his locker room. And when you have a guy pulling the trigger like DJ Lagway, man, you've always got a chance. There's been a lot of talk about Arch Manning, and I understand why. And again, we discussed this last night, Cole. If you ask me right now, who are the 2 quarterbacks you could take in this league to play tomorrow? I'm not talking about NFL draft in 2 years. It would be DJ Lagway and Lenore Sellers. Those would be my top 2 because they're so difficult to get on the ground. They can beat you a number of different ways.
Yeah.
But I like Oklahoma. South Carolina is another one that's intriguing because of Sellers. They got great young talent. Dylan Stewart, one of the best young edge rushers in college football. I like some of their young offensive linemen. Here's my concern with the Gamecocks is they lost a lot of key difference makers on defense.
Yes. I'm with you. Chris Lowe, live from SEC Media Days. Thank you for the time. Always love catching up. We enjoyed talking last night, and thanks for hopping on the show today. We will visit with Billy Lucci, talk Texas A&M, who will be here today on the other side. Before we do that, Greg, tell our listeners about Crocker Moving Services.
They're a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys, and you can trust them in your home when they need your whole home packed up and moved. Your company headquarters moved across country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room. These guys got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you've purchased and need to get to your home. So call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website's CrockerMovingServices.com. It's CrockerMovingServices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Services for your next move.
All right, we'll get to a break, come back, talk Texas A&M with Billy Lucci of TexAgs live from SEC Media Days at the College Football Hall of Fame next on Jox. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, live from SEC Media Days, Day 4. Arkansas, Missouri. You're going to be over here, Billy, because we're going to try to get you on camera so everybody can see just how late you stayed out last night. Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky, Texas A&M. Before we get to Billy Lucci, Greg, tell our listeners about Polar Bear Services.
Well, I've been using Weston and the guys forever. They're so good to me. They've been so great around my home. They've made it so easy, too, and the amount of things that they can do certainly make them remarkably appealing. They've helped me out with electrical. They've helped me out with plumbing. They are specialists when it comes to the HVAC system. So on these hot days, you want to make sure your AC is running smoothly. They're the ones to call. So remember, if you have a problem with your electrical, plumbing, heat, or air, just pick up the phone and call the Bear. It's 205-497-BEAR. It's 497-BEAR.
Billy Lucci of Texags sitting down with us now at SEC Media Days, Day 4. How are you holding up on Day 4?
I'm good. I mean, you saw me this morning. That's 6:45, 5:45.
It was
College Station time.
7-ish around there.
Yeah, that wake up call that Burns put on me. We're sitting there, everybody's hanging out, and I think what happened is Peter all of a sudden realized he didn't have a guest, and so I was the fallback for the 7:30 a.m. slot. So, other than that, Cole, we're doing great. We're doing great, and of course the Aggies are last today, so I'm on that late flight out of Atlanta back to College Station.
I'm glad I don't have to fly to here. Hey,
Yeah.
Susan.
Uh-oh.
How are you? Great to see you.
That's
Susan
trouble.
Max,
How
the
are you?
sports information director for Kentucky. You always have to be kind to her and say hello.
She's the
one of
best.
the best
The
ever.
best.
Hey, have
The
you,
best.
do you sit back sometimes and think about from an A&M coverage perspective where you are personally? And what made me think about this is when Sark came to the podium the other day, and they played, is it called the Aggie War Hymn? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
So Texas A&M's fight song, essentially. Not a ton of people caught it, but like Greg, you, like y'all knew right away.
Yeah.
And like, because Dari was kind of questioning, he's like, was that the Aggie War Hymn they just played? I was like, I think so. Everyone blamed you immediately.
Yeah, they did.
And what that did for me was, like, that kind of showed everyone, like, who is the A&M guy. Like, you've become the A&M guy. Like, you're not the Texags guy. You're not this guy that knows about Texas A&M. Like, you are literally the A&M guy now. Do you sit back and think about that sometimes?
No, but, I would joke and say it's just because I've been doing it so long, but I think part of it, too, is you guys, SEC Network, and how much I'm on with y'all, and like you and Greg and
You
y'all
can definitely
show.
say that Greg and I are responsible for it. We'll
It's
allow
exactly.
that.
It's kind of what
We'll
I'm
allow
saying.
that, yes.
But no,
No
I just
problem
think I'm always about the credit.
Take it.
No, but it's not. Our university president, President Welsh, kind of asked me something similar like a year ago. It was like, do you ever just sit back and think? And because it's been 25 years, which is crazy. But
It is crazy.
I did it right out of college. It's my only job. So I do always joke, man, imagine if A&M had like a really nice like 5 or 10 year run of success, like as a top, like even like Auburn's success, play for a natty, win one, or LSU, obviously the way they've been. But no, it's really cool. I'm proud of what we've built there with Texags, and I understand. Like I relish it. I have fun with it. I'm really glad it worked out the way it has, and like just being able to sit down and do this with you guys, and
It's super cool.
in the relationships outside of A&M,
Yeah.
I think whether it's college sports, SEC, pro sports, and just some of the people I've gotten to not meet but got to know over the last few years.
But if you want to put it in some perspective, like that I can give you, we were at Josh Pate's wedding, and you kind of saw me from a distance. We knew we were both going to be there, and we were going to hang out. And we kind of waved because we were both talking to people. And my wife leaned over. And my wife kind of doesn't pay attention to college football near as much anymore. It's a very sort of a light, I guess, topic for her. And she leaned over. She goes, "That's the Texas A&M guy."
Nice.
And I was like,
like
"Yep."
that.
I don't think she knows your name.
Yeah.
She does now because she met you.
Yeah.
But like that's what you were there. And so it's like it's just really cool that you've kind of become that. So
It's better than being the industrial distribution guy from A&M. Like, to me, no offense to those people, but this was my this was my path. I needed to do something where I got to have fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this team. Greg is very high on Marcel Reed. I still have a lot of question marks about him being sort of an every down, every series, every game quarterback. Where are you on Marcel Reed?
I lean more towards being high on him, but I also get what you're saying. I think he has a lot to prove, but I think that's most of the SEC quarterbacks this year. And, Greg, you and I talked about it. It's such a fascinating position, and I think more so than any year I've covered, the order of finish is going to be directly correlated to which of these quarterbacks, like Marcel, are we saying he took this big, significant year 1 to year 2 jump, or this guy in his first year as a starter surprise and impress. So Marcel is one of those guys. And I think, Cole, the most interesting thing, you think about your Auburn Tigers. Had the A&M defense tackled Peyton Thorne on 4th down, Marcel Reed on the road at night at Jordan-Hare leads them back from 21-0 down with a late 4th quarter length of the field touchdown drive. If the Aggies get a 4th down stop against USC, he led them down the field and walked in a 20-something yard touchdown run with under a minute and a half left to win the game. How much different is our conversation about him? Because when I saw him struggle greatly, it was down the stretch at South Carolina without Le'Veon Moss against one of the best defenses in the SEC. And I saw him struggle against Texas at Kyle Field without Le'Veon Moss against one of the best defenses in the country, which to me those things are very normal, par for the course for a first-year, 4th, 5th, 6th game starter at quarterback. Now, to go back, that's Greg's side, right? Your side is you still have to show that you can do it week to week to week. And there are areas where I watch him and I go, he's got to improve in that to do it. And I think the main thing, and Mac, you can attest to this, I think, is just that comfort level of the ball snapped and you know exactly where to go with it, and you know I'm gonna catch this ball, identify the first, second guy, and rip it because I know where he's supposed to be. I know what that coverage is doing, and I didn't, and it's understandable, but we didn't see that a lot of times last year. I saw it more against USC, which was encouraging, but that's what he has to show, I think, for A&M to be kind of one of those surprise teams, because I truly think he is the X factor for this football team. He's the straw that stirs the drink of whether we're talking about an 8-4 or even a 7-5 team versus that 9-3, or hey, here's the surprise of the SEC, which I think is going to be OU, A&M, Florida. It's going to be somebody.
Auburn's
Auburn's another one that gets in there and shakes it up this
Tennessee.
year. Right, there's
it's going to be somebody that pops that we're not giving enough credit to right now, and A&M could easily be that team. Looking at the identity of the offense, I think Marcel is going to be just fine because I think they're going to run the ball really well. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to be committed to running the ball. And when Le'Veon Moss went down last year, they were a different team. So I still believe that this group is going to be very, very solid in the backfield and along the line of scrimmage. My biggest question is, how much more comfortable is Colin Klein this year, having navigated the league once and having seen everybody he's going to see once? How much more equipped will he be to call the right play at the right time to put his offense in the best position to be successful?
I think that's a outstanding point because no one thinks about that, right, Greg? Because you go, well, he's the OC, he's a professional. He does. No, he hasn't done it against SEC defenses in that league with that quarterback, especially when I heard a lot of Aggies even will go, well, I heard they always wanted Marcel because he can run. They wanted him over Connor Wigman. That's actually the opposite. Like, they absolutely wanted Connor Wigman with his experience and with what he had shown and his arm talent. They wanted him to be the starting quarterback. That's why he won the job. Right. Marcel wasn't supposed to start last year. So, Klein adjusted on the fly, not just to Marcel, but like you said, to the league. And so when you factor that, the inexperience at QB, and that now you're bringing back not just your starting O-line, but you're starting 7 to tie into what Greg said about the running game. I think this offense is one that could actually take a pretty sizable jump when you mix in year 2 Terry Bussey, you mix in Casey Concepcion, and you mix in Mario Craver, and a guy to mention today, just for y'all, that I think is going to have I don't think like a huge statistical year, but make some big catches over the top of defenses this year is Ashton Bethel-Roman, who essentially redshirted last year. He's a speed guy, Mac, that he can get over the top, and he is a big-time player in terms of, like, from day one, they're like, this kid's he's going to far exceed his recruiting. They flipped him from Arkansas actually after signing day, got out of his letter of intent, came to A&M and turned heads this year. But
Greg has been trying to warn people about Casey Concepcion for months now. Still not much buzz here about him. I got a list of guys that people need to know. He's on that list, and still not hearing much about a lot of these guys. What are you hearing from inside the facility about him?
Day one, forget the talent. If he would have been there, if this would be his second season at A&M, he'd be here. He'd be a captain. So that was really encouraging to me because I saw the statistics. I've watched the highlight reels. I know what he did his freshman year with better quarterback play. He was fine in sophomore year. He was great his freshman year. That's why A&M had to fight off Bama and whoever else they did. I think maybe Miami. He was a very sought-after and coveted guy, and Mike Elko and the Aggies felt like they had to have him. But then when he got there, he practices like he's a walk-on. He doesn't practice like he's a proven guy that came, on a big NIL deal. And so when you combine that with his skill set, he gets open underneath. He's very difficult to cover. He's a bigger, not big, he's short, but he's a stronger built guy, hard to tackle. And then what he can do after the catch is really special. And then he's got the speed as well. I think they're going to have a fast receiving core, guys that can get behind the defense. So I think if you're trying to figure out what this looks like, it's like, Greg, what you said. A lot of running game, a lot of ground and pound, mix in, Marcel. But I think some of the passing game, you're going to see a real element of over-the-top, deep ball stuff from this group.
G-Mac, you got anything else? For Bill?
Yeah, absolutely. I have 15 things for him.
Probably won't get all those in, but
Billy, what are you doing for the next hour? We need 4 segments to fill.
I'm here.
I'm going to keep asking you questions, and we'll have other guests roll in, and Cole can ask them questions. This defensive line. That was such a position of strength last year. People I talked to around the program, I haven't even talked to you about it, to be honest with you, so I'm just kind of curious about it. But they are not at all concerned about their defensive line, which I found fascinating, considering how good they were and how many pieces that needed to be replaced. Where do you stand right now, and how does the staff feel, in your opinion, about what they bring back on the defensive line?
Well, like you said, I think the staff feels good. I think they felt like they did really well in the portal at end. TJ Searcy from Florida, Impemba at Georgia. He's young and hadn't proven a lot, but was a really high-profile recruit for the Bulldogs. And then the guy no one talks about is Deion Hayes. He was at Colorado, played a couple games, got hurt, 3-4 games. Before that, though, at Pitt, I think he had 15 career sacks. And he's a guy the guy today that's coming, Armaje Reed-Adams, who proud Texags intern. He's doing great media work, so he should be.
Wow, NIL.
Exactly. He should be fun today to listen to. He's got great personality. But Armaje tells me all the time, he goes, man, he's a beast. Pass block, he's tough. He's the toughest of all of them. So they added those guys, but Cassius Howell, to me, at times last year looked like A&M's best pass rusher. He really did, and that was with Scorton and Stewart. And so he's coming back. They're expecting big things from him. Go look, Cole, at what he did against Auburn, Texas, and USC. It's a really eye-opening stat line if you go look at Cassius Howell in those 3 games. It's like an interception against USC. It's a forced fumble against Texas. It's multiple sacks against Auburn. You would look at it and you go, damn, who is this? And Rylan Kennedy was another guy that really flashed it. So, and then they have a guy by the name of Marco Jones that Mike Elko told me on signing day. We had him ranked as the #1 defensive end prospect in the country. he follows that up by having 6 sacks in the spring game. And I know it's a quick whistle and this and that, but Marco Jones is a name to file away if you're looking for a freshman of impact on Texas A&M's team. Jones at DN. So, and then at D tackle, I'll tell you what gets me fired up. They added a transfer from Iowa State that they love, Tyler Onyedin, and Albert Regis is a. Mike Elko will tell you he's a draft pick. He's probably a mid-round draft pick. But the guy that DJ Hicks, former 5-star, backed up Walter Nolan freshman year, backed up Shamar Turner, second rounder this year. If he can live up to that billing, and I just happened to be watching SEC Network the other day, and it was A&M LSU, and I kept seeing freaking number 13 DJ Hicks making plays. And I was caught up in the moment of that game and just forgot how well
it's
he
in there.
played in
We've
that
seen
one.
him flash at times. Yeah.
So I don't mind the D-line at all, Greg, to be honest. And I understand why there's that excitement. And honestly, it was a unit that for whatever reason, and I think the coaches have to ask themselves that as well this year, but for whatever reason, I felt like at times they underperformed last year per the talent.
All right, well, unfortunately for Greg, we're going to let you run because we got to get to a break, and the other 16 questions that he has are going to have to wait. But
I've got 16 for y'all about Auburn, about Bama, about the entire conference. So,
what is your biggest question about Alabama?
I picked them to win the SEC, so that tells you.
Man, the momentum is skyrocketing for Alabama here.
Is it here? Yeah,
Yes.
see, I haven't done a lot of Alabama discussion the last couple of days. I feel like the momentum I'm getting a lot of is John Mateer. Like it's a lot of people are coming in.
Yeah, Greg and I have been talking about him since January, February, and finally people are like really starting to come around and kind of understand what he is, what he can be. Biggest question for Auburn?
I think the biggest question for Auburn is going to be it's Peyton Thorne. It is. And then the Peyton Thorne, what can you freeze get out of him?
Jackson Arnold.
Yeah, sorry.
Peyton Thorne last year.
We saw the Peyton Thorne one. Jackson Arnold. He can't be, and Peyton Thorne beat A&M, but he can't be Peyton Thorne. And he can't be Jackson Arnold from last year. But, man, I watched him all through high school. There's a ton of talent there.
Yeah.
And that's why, to me, with all those receivers and playmakers, why you put them there. My biggest question with Alabama, man, I think I want to see is it Ty Simpson, Is he the guy? Because I think they have enough.
Yeah, Greg's confident it is. I think it will be, and, it's –
but I think Bama's got enough. And Kalen DeBoer, to me, and I've talked about this to Elko, and he jokes around. He's like, yeah, it's fine. Like, when that job opened up, my first thought was Kalen DeBoer. He's at Washington. I knew you couldn't go get Dan Lanning. You knew what A&M was capable of paying. I was Kalen DeBoer, and I was told pretty early on by Ross Bjork, he's very adamant that he's not even open to discussing anything until after their playoff run, and that didn't fit,
right?
For A&M. And who knows? Maybe he already knew something that we didn't at that time.
We appreciate the time, Billy. Always great,
All right.
man. Let's catch up
All
soon.
right, cool. Thanks,
there
buddy.
you go. Billy.
Thanks, Greg.
The Texas A&M guy, not just of Texags anymore. Back with more McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, live from the College Football Hall of Fame next on Jox. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, live from the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta. SEC Media Days, Day 4. Next hour, Eli Drinkwitz, Mike Elko. Greg, are you seeing what Drink has said early here at Media Days? I mean,
No.
You wouldn't have a way to see it, but
What did he say?
yeah, I don't know what he's doing, but Billy, put the headset back on real quick. Lee J. Idings tweets in, y'all have the A&M guy on and don't ask him about Shamar Stewart. Wow.
Okay.
I mean, what?
I just got a text from one of my best buddies, Alabama guy, and he asked me about Shamar Stewart and sent me a link. So I don't think there's – I know we live in the world where everything's crazy with the NCAA and anything can happen in terms of eligibility, but no, I don't think there's a world where Shamar Stewart is playing at Texas A&M this fall. And I know that's a rumor out there because it's come out.
People are saying he's practicing with A&M.
Practicing. Well,
A&M's
first of all,
not
you're not
practicing.
practicing, and they don't. A lot of people in this report, it's these damn aggregators on Twitter, and they just mention 100 people or thousands, but they were saying he's practicing with the team, and everyone's taking it and run with it, just like they did with Johnny Manziel's an assistant head coach on Elko's staff, just like they did that Mike Elko's housing an orphanage in his.
All right, hold on. So
Just
Bud
like
Elliott,
they did earlier when people thought that Nick Saban was returning to coaching. You're saying like Twitter stuff's ridiculous.
Twitter's
Is that what you're
Twitter's
suggesting?
twittering, yeah.
Okay,
So, hold
just
on.
making
So
sure.
this Warren Sharp takes I don't know if this is from an article or like the transcript of the podcast. Quote, a guy who had some good stuff
It's Bud
on
Elliott
Texas
that
A&M
said
in the
this.
past. Yeah, he hit me and he's like, hey, Shamar might end up back here. He's been at College Station. He's fully involved in workouts. Bud Elliott in the Cover 3 podcast. That's not you, is it?
Yeah, that's
You
not
didn't
me.
give him that, did you?
No,
Okay, I'm just
no.
making sure.
I like Bud, but I didn't give him
No,
that.
Bud's great.
No, so there's
I'll just say this. Honestly, I had not. People forget how like lost we get in media days and like
Yeah.
the normal stuff happening. I think if he really wanted to do it, he could probably do it.
well,
Because I think the NCAA would fold.
if they ever would, it would be in this
Right
little
now.
window,
Yeah,
right?
now.
But I don't think there's any optimism. I do think it was something that, they were like, well, I wonder if this can happen. But I think the answer is no. And he's not practicing with anyone. He's in College Station working out with Tommy Moffitt. And if you're going to be there, why not train? And as you guys know as players, train and run with your old
I
teammates.
remember like
stay in
Marcus
shape.
Washington left to go to the NFL, and all these guys have their like they go to Exos and all these big
Yeah.
places to work out. Like Marcus would come back and do our workouts with us
Yeah.
every day. Like
Yeah.
the workouts that the team was doing, and he was playing for the Colts.
That's
So,
exactly what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
And credit him because he's ready to play, and he's fallen behind, unfortunately, but he's ready to play. But I would be absolutely stunned if that was at Texas A&M.
The
I'm
holdout
not
stuff
expecting
with these
it.
first-round draft picks is wild.
It is, especially with the Bengals. They're a mess right now in terms of what they're doing, what they're
Well,
trying
you're saying
to
they're
do.
are they cheap? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah.
You're saying
you-
the team that wouldn't fix the steam room my last year in the NFL because
God.
it cost $5,200. They made the city of Cincinnati come out and fix it, and it took a week and a half. You're saying that team's cheap?
Maybe
Really?
so, Greg. Maybe that's what I'm saying. Somebody in this conversation knows more than the other two about it.
He's got a little
You're
bit
saying
of
the
insight.
team that
Okay.
fed us, your team that fed us pizzas at night for dinner was cheap. They would order Papa John's, and we would have to go pick it up at the room. That we had powdered eggs. You're saying they're cheap, and they
Greg
can't figure it
Sankey
out.
said earlier this week he eats powdered eggs every day.
Does he
What's wrong
really?
with that?
I just had powdered eggs this morning, and no.
No. All right.
No, I don't even believe Greg Sankey.
By the
with
way,
that.
I don't hate Papa John's. I'm fine with Papa John's.
Papa John's is great, but I think as a
Gives me
professional
gas.
athlete, probably not the best thing to be feeding your
Yeah.
players when you are obligated by the NFLPA to feed us 3 times a day on Wednesdays and Thursdays.
And that was
your
one of them.
What if your O-line
on
was
Wednesday
light?
night?
What if
your
your O-line was
decision on
light? You need to
Wednesday
bulk
night?
them up a little bit.
You get a
Like-
medium Papa John's pizza? Like, what are we doing? I mean, it is unbelievable.
Golly.
Unbelievable.
So you're saying if I interview Shamar Stewart this week about his current status to not bring Papa John's to the
I
interview?
think that they've honestly. I think they actually petitioned and like the players got it fixed, and it's not as bad. But, dude, you want to talk about like the cheapest organization alive? Yeah, you got it right there.
Well, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to have a clause in there that doesn't fit. We got a more important person than me, Greg. I'll talk to you later.
Josh, sit
pal.
over
Yeah.
here. We're making Billy leave. So, thank you, Billy. All right, we're going to have to take a quick break real quick. Josh Caddis is going to have to wait. Actually, we're going to do it now. You're going to sit down and we're going to do it now. This is just what we're going to have to do. We don't have a choice. Kentucky tight end Josh Caddis sitting down with us here at SEC Media Days. I got to say, I like the fit.
You like it?
Yeah, I mean, it's like the plaid with the blue tie. First off, you go school colors, which is solid, and the kind of little like miniature polka dot shirt. I'm a fan. It's a good look.
I really appreciate it.
You did a good
I kind of went. We have these gray uniforms, and I kind of went with that. Those are my favorite uniforms.
What's your favorite Kentucky helmet, by the way?
The black ones are tough.
You like the black?
And then the chrome. You can't go
I
wrong
like the
with the
white.
chrome.
I like the white.
You like the white?
The white's a good. See, I'm out on chrome helmets.
You're not a chrome guy.
You can't even see the logo. It's like it's just this
It is
everything
blinding,
come in.
yeah.
It's just it's not a great look.
It's an advantage.
All right, Greg McElroy's with us. He's in Fairhope, but you'll be able to hear him. I have this theory on Kentucky this year, based on who's been brought in from the portal and kind of some of the moves that Stoops has made. And you would be like the antithesis of this by how you play. I think Mark is going back to like early Mark at Kentucky. Like, we're the team you don't want to see in a back alley. We might not be the fastest or the most athletic, but we are going to punch you in the face, and we're going to see if you can withstand that.
I love that. That's to a T. That's what Coach Stoops is embracing about this Kentucky roster. And it's that 4th and 1 mentality. It's who's going to go get it on 4th and 1. And Coach Stoops is betting the bank that we're going to do that with this team. So we're really excited. We're attacking the weight room. We're attacking the field work. And that's kind of what Coach Stoops went with when he was deciding on who we wanted to bring in this season.
Looking at the guys that are in the team is so new, Josh. Like, you're one of just a handful of guys that I've called their game. I've seen you play. At least I've seen you play in Kentucky uniform.
Mm-hmm.
But
Josh, do you
like,
know who
I
this
think
is? Do you know this guy?
Randall Cobb?
Oh,
I
he knows
might
him.
have
He
heard of
knows
him
him.
before. How's it going? Nice to
Kentucky
meet you.
legend.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I just want to make sure you knew. Go ahead, Greg.
No,
I'm
you're
sorry. Go
good.
ahead.
Everybody knows Randall Cobb. Are you kidding me? Like,
Well, you just want to make sure.
yesterday, who was it that was freaking out? Oh, Mateer saw Randall Cobb and freaked out. Like, was
Love
like
that.
on
I
the
love
set,
that.
just full panic mode. Like, I was like, all right, dude, that's what's up. I'm like, Randall, you're not cool, bro. It's fine.
I kept my
anyways,
composure.
yeah, looking at guys that are new that have kind of popped to you. Help us understand, like, who are the guys that we really need to be focusing in on when we start to tell Kentucky's story this year that did not play at Kentucky last year?
Yeah, I think one guy off the top of my head on the defense was Gusta, who transferred from Washington State. He's a stud.
Yeah.
You know, he really surprised me during the spring, making plays, being in the backfield a lot. I think he's a stud. I think our whole defense looks really good. And then offensive side of the ball, you know, I really like Kendrick Law from Bama. He
actually blocks better than you do.
he is
That's the part of your game I appreciate the most. But like, I've never seen a receiver do the things he does in the blocking game. It's unbelievable.
You should see him in the weight room.
Oh,
I mean,
he's
he's
a
pushing
beast.
weights.
Last year, DeBoer Media Days, I brought him up. I was like, can he help? And he's like, well, he benches 500 and he squats like 720. I was like, hold on a second. He's a receiver.
Yeah, I mean, he's 200 pounds, lifts just as much as most offensive linemen. I mean,
crazy.
he's a stud, and he's really fast, and he makes plays when the ball's in the air. That's what we've seen this summer and in the spring. So we're really excited about those two guys, but excited about the offense and defense as a whole as well.
Year 2 Bush Hamden's offense. Is there a part that just you can see the comfort level better, that the guys just are adapting to a little bit easier than maybe a year ago?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, obviously now, you know, we have 50 new incomers, and that's kind of the world we're navigating with college sports. But the guys that have been here and been in that system are embracing that and taking a leadership role of making sure that we're holding everyone accountable to picking up this system as fast as we can. So obviously it's nice having a coordinator back for a second year, and I think Coach Hamden's a brilliant play caller. So really excited about that.
Talking to Bush last year, like he felt he was so stressed. Like, and I think partly because they were trying to find an identity. You know, they wanted to run the ball, but they were struck. His chip was banged up, and it was just tough. You know what I mean? It was just tough. I feel like he's in a much better spot this year, understanding what Coach Stoops wants, where they want this offense to go, and kind of run it through y'all. But I do want to ask about Zach Calzada and what you've seen from. I think he's a really gifted thrower. I remember watching him at A&M. Like, he can spin it now. Like, he can really throw the football. Like, what have you seen from him in this offense that makes you think, like, he's the right guy to maybe lead this squad?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a lot of talented quarterbacks. I think Cutter Boley's extremely talented as well, but Zach has brought a lot of experience. You know, back at Texas A&M, he beat Alabama there. Like, he has that experience, and that's what we're looking for. And then, like you said, you highlighted his arm. His arm talent is pretty incredible. He throws a great ball. He puts some heat on it when he needs to, has some nice touch to it. So we've seen a lot of great things from Zach, and he also brings some leadership that he had at Incarnate Word with us. So, yeah, really excited about Zach. I think he's going to have a great year.
Josh, we appreciate the time, man. Thank you, Susan, for bringing you by. We're not going to keep you any longer. I hope you enjoy Media Days today, man. Looking forward to catching up with you this season.
Yes, sir. It's an honor to be on it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
There you go. Josh Caddis, tight end at Kentucky. Thank you, Susan. Bye. See you later. All right. And now, listen, Josh is a guy that adds value to that Kentucky offense. We're going to give you some added value here at Jox. So I'll introduce you to our friend and wealth advisor, Tad Hill, your trusted retirement planning partner. Tad, the co-host of the Retire with Freedom radio and TV shows in Birmingham, Huntsville, and designated by Forbes as the #1 financial securities professional in the state of Alabama. Multiple years running. Tad, what do you have for us today?
What I'd like to talk about today are two very specific retirement planning challenges that most people are going to have these days. And that is, when do you take Social Security? When is the right time for you to do it, your spouse to do it? And also, do you have a pension decision to make? Now, not everybody has a pension decision to make, but if you do, and you're trying to decide, do I take the annuity? Do I take the lump sum? If I'm going to take the annuity, do I do 100% spousal, 50, 0%? And then just the whole decision around how do I make sure that these sources of income are augmenting my retirement the way I need them to. And then we've got to figure out how to take your savings and turn that into the income that you need to add to those other sources. We can help you figure these things out. I would encourage you to come to a course or come in for a visit. The way to do that is to text Jox at 205-988-0006. That's 205-988-0006.
This is a paid placement. Investment advisory services are made available through AE Wealth Management. For more information about Forbes rankings, visit Forbes.com.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, live from SEC Media Days at the College Football Hall of Fame. We've had Greg Sankey, Drew Fabianich, we've had Chris Lowe, we've had Billy Lucci, we've had Josh Caddis. If you missed any of those, joxfm.com or get the app in your app store. That'll direct you to all the podcasts. That'll direct you to watch live on YouTube, and you can just listen live right there each and every morning on the Jox app.
Bill Smith Buick GMC is the GMC Dealer of the Year, the national champion of GMC dealers. There's a reason why they continue to win it year after year. They've won 5 in a row. They'll probably add 6 again for 2025. The deals are just off the charts. You'll get GMC Sierra 1500. It's $14,000 off the sticker price. Deals like that just keep people coming back. It's absolutely off the charts. I actually have had a vehicle in service all week. They've taken great care of us. They came and picked it up, went and gave us a rental, a loaner. Then we get the car back. It's just made it so easy for us, and we're just so grateful to the incredible people at Bill Smith Buick GMC for making our experience so seamless, and we will continue to go back over and over again. Like I said, 75% of that business repeat customers. That's because you have a better experience when you shop at the GMC Dealer of the Year. It's right up the road in Coleman off I-65 exit 310 Highway 31. You can also shop online and have it delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com.
All right, when we come back next hour, Eli Drinkwitz, Missouri head football coach, Mike Elko, A&M head football coach, going to join us on set right here live from SEC Media Days at the College Football Hall of Fame on Jox. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, live from the College Football Hall of Fame. At least I am. Greg is in Fairhope, Alabama. And we're going to continue rolling with Day 4 of Media Days with the coach, Wim Sanderson, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. And he joins us each and every week thanks to our friends at Coke and Piggly Wiggly. Coach, how are we doing this morning?
Okay, I do not want to get in the way of you two helmet heads. So I want to ask you a question because helmet heads are smart. In basket, and I got to ask one question. You can give me all because it's more important today than me. In basketball, you can play 18 games by playing 3 teams twice and the rest of them once. And that makes up your 18 games. In non-conference football scheduling, Coach Bryant used to schedule 10 years in advance when I was there because I watched him schedule. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about how they say AI does it, how they formulate a football schedule for the conference game for the team? Because number one, Napier was on the hot seat and got off. He's fixing to get back on because Florida's conference schedule is terrible. Last year, Texas's conference schedule was easy. Can you give me a little bit about that? Then I'll get off so you can talk to somebody smart. Any answer?
Well, yeah. Go ahead, Greg, because we got Drinkwitz, so we're gonna cut Coach off after.
Okay,
this.
That's fine. I can get off. I can get off now if you need for Drinkwitz to go. Whatever you want me to do.
Well, tell the listeners. We'll answer your question after we have Eli Drinkwitz, Coach. But tell the listeners how you're able to join us thanks to Coke and Piggly Wiggly.
Well, appreciate that. Thank you, Coca-Cola and Piggly Wiggly let me come on here every week, and this is a special week for these guys and for football. And go in. Piggly Wiggly, you come out with a smile on your face, drink Coke, and you'll be happy in this cotton-picking hot weather. So listen to these two guys. They're smart, and I do a good job of getting off there when I know I need to. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Coach. We appreciate it. We apologize. Coach Strink, how you doing today?
Man, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Well, I love being here at SEC Media Days.
Yeah, I do too. You know, I want to thank – is Greg on the air?
I'm here. I
want to thank you for putting me on the hot seat. You know, when you started this rumor about Saban coming back – the board started looking into my contract, see if they could get rid of me and bring Saban back to the University of Missouri. So, appreciate you doing that.
Did he get you an extension at least?
No, put me on the hot seat, straight up on it. So
yeah, that's
everybody
exactly
wants
right.
to hire the GOAT back, man. How bad of it? When he called and ripped your ass, was it as bad as Lane? Was it as bad as Lane on the sideline or no?
What's funny though is would you really listen? If anyone were to actually listen to anything anymore, Coach, it was literally like a.
Who are you telling, Greg?
It's like an offhand comment. It was like, if Andy Reid retires and Kansas City called Coach, would he listen? Probably. It was like, don't rule it out. I mean, you never say never. When it's in your blood, it's in your blood. That's all it is. I mean, shoot,
Greg.
man, the way that took off, I was amazed.
You're talking to Eli Drinkwitz. Viral moments I've had from stuff that was like, what? There's no way you listen to the whole conversation. So
was that
I don't blame you a bit.
Was that the intended intention this morning with your sort of opening statements here with some of the media? You're going JFK, you're going Epstein files, like what?
Well, dude, let's be honest, man. It's Thursday morning. That room was deader than a doornail. There was 4 people in there. I'm like, God, dog.
We got to get them up. We got to wake them up here a little bit.
Let's demand the release of something crazy. So,
okay. All right.
No, yeah, I'm just having a good time, man. I mean,
I'll say this, Coach.
Taking ourselves so serious.
I really, really appreciate how you're going to come in and spice it up because it's been slow this week, man. And I get it. You know what I mean? Everybody's so protective and everybody doesn't really want to say anything because it can be used against you, as we've already found out.
Yeah.
And you almost have to be in defense mode all the time as a head coach. Whereas back in the day when it didn't get quite as much coverage, you could be a character and it was kind of fun and joyful. Robbie Caldwell literally talked about turkey insemination during his podium presser. It was insane. So, why do you think the dynamic has changed for coaches as we've kind of navigated throughout media days the last 15 years?
Just because what you said. I mean, exactly the same thing that happened to you. Something, 4 years ago I made a comment about players getting paid more than doctors and lawyers, and all of a sudden it went crazy viral. And if you listen to the conversation, the comment was based on why gambling was such an important issue to discuss. And so I just think we're all very scared of being that viral moment. And again, using it against you in recruiting or having some sort of persona created for you through social media. So, coaches got to be guarded against their brand. I've gotten to the point where people think what they think about me. They say what they want to say about me, and I don't really care anymore. And that's why I said what I said regarding the playoff. That's out of line with what the SEC commissioner is for and several of the prominent head coaches. But I don't. My job is not to fall in line with them. My job is to speak what I believe is in the best interest of the University of Missouri and what I believe is in the best interest for college football. And that's why I don't believe that 11-5 is I think that's crazy. That's trading one set of problems for another when you're going to say instead of letting them pick 6 or 5 or whatever it was, we're going to have them pick 11. I mean, there's complaints every year about the teams that qualify for the NCAA basketball tournament because a human selection committee has no standard of criteria. It's going to be the same thing that happens with college football. And when we're arguing about creating 2 more opportunities, let's think bigger than that. If we want to expand the game of college football, which we're all trying to do, we got to expand opportunities for fan bases to be involved. And if you're only talking about having 11 opportunities, again, that's 16 teams qualifying out of 133 teams is only about 12%. We need to get that number up. NFL, it's 44% of their teams. That's why the fan bases are so passionate, because they have something to believe in every year. And if we start limiting it to 10% of our fan bases, you're not going to have the money that you need to in order to sustain athletic departments.
I'm glad you went with standard of selection, because that's what I wanted to discuss with you next. We've gotten way too serious here on the show, and so for our fans watching on YouTube, I'm just going to flip this around right here, and I'm going to ask you, Vela Brequin, I don't know what this is called. I don't know what this is. I've never seen this in my life. But for those that don't know what a Vela Brequin bathing suit is, I need to know how many are in stock, how many you now have.
How do you know about this?
Coach, you're going to question my research and my preparation.
You must have been at Lake Martin last week. I bought one. I'd seen Scott Van Pelt promote that bathing suit and talked about it on a podcast with Stanford Steve. And so I saw it this past week, and I said, you know what, my family had splurged quite a bit. It was time to reward myself with a nice. That's
a hell of a reward, too, when you see the price tag on those bathing suits.
It was a little shocking.
Your NIL must be pretty good to be able to.
My contract's public record. We're doing okay in the Drinkwitz household.
Hey, but at least you only have one. I mean,
Cousin Shane.
Van Pelt said he had what, like 15 of them? So.
Yeah. Scott Van Pelt's got quite a few. I don't know Scott, but I know Stanford Steve, so I reached out to Stanford Steve to ask him if it was worth it, and he said he's at Lake Martin rocking a Walmart swimsuit. And so I said, well, shoot, I'm going to go for it.
My guy. Yeah, it probably wouldn't take you very long to put 2 and 2 together on that one, how I came across that information. But all right, is it at least worth the $700?
Well, it's not $700, but it's worth every penny I paid, man. I mean,
why?
It was like,
it's a bathing suit.
No, man. No, it's way more than that. I mean, those guys.
It's a lifestyle.
It's the most important garment that you could have wrapped around your waist in a time of.
Did you have anyone like Van Pelt? Did a kid come up to you and say, "My parents told me that this bathing suit costs $900"?
No, nobody recognized who I was. I was in the state of Florida. They had no idea.
All right,
so it was all good,
that's what I love about you, man. Like, we can have fun with you, and then we can go right back into football. I have no idea what Bo Perbula is. I've tried to go get film. I've tried to watch.
I tried to tell him, Coach.
He's got a big arm. I've seen him throw a couple deep balls. Like, he looks nice. He's got some mobility, but there's not enough for me to really watch to have a good idea what he is. Give me an idea what we're working with here at quarterback.
Yeah, I love the assumption, and I think it's awesome, but it's not fair to Sam to assume that Bo Perbula is going to be our starting quarterback. There is an open competition.
Okay.
Sam Horn is firmly in that mix, and Bo's awesome. Bo's been incredible. He's a wonderful leader. He's everything that the guys at Penn State said about him as a teammate, as a leader, as a competitor, as a player. He throws the ball really well. He runs it well, makes great decisions. But the reality of it is Sam Horn has a say in this process, in this battle, and he's been waiting a long time. And he's a hell of a competitor. You don't get drafted by the L.A. Dodgers to replace Shohei Ohtani. if you're not a hell of a pitcher.
Well, and he's healthy.
You know,
and
he's healthy.
That's the key. So
he's healthy. So those two guys both, I would be remiss to try to prop one up over the other. It's going to be a great battle. Those two guys have both earned the opportunity to compete for it, and whichever one rises to the top is going to be our guy.
Oh, and look, I don't know him. I have not met him. But watching what he did on the road at Wisconsin, he's got my respect, because I know how hard that is to kind of come off the bench in that situation and in a game that was not decided and play well. That tells me a lot.
Yeah, I mean, his
probably affected you too.
Yeah, his preparation has been remarkable. His ability to understand and adapt to our scheme and system. You know, I knew coming out of spring it wouldn't be fair to try to establish a starter, just because Sam had played within the system for 2 years and had taken a lot of reps. And so Bo had kind of earned the right to come in this spring and make mistakes and learn from them and grow. I really was pleased with both these guys in OTAs in June. And fall camp's going to be a battle. It's going to be really awesome. You know, both these guys can create with their feet, which is going to help them settle into the position a little bit. Doesn't have to rely too much on their decision-making and arm early in their careers, and they're going to have a hell of a defense. So it sets up for those guys to be successful.
Speaking of defense, I've been trying. There's a group of like 10 players that Greg and I've been trying to educate people here on, that they just have no idea who they are.
Yeah.
Let's say there's 700 people here. If I asked all 700 on the way out the door, like, do you know who Marvin Burks is? Like, none of them are going to say yes. I think maybe 10 people would know who he is. I freaking love this kid. I don't even know if he can cover. I don't care. But, like, if King Kong Bundy was carrying the football, he would come down there and try to knock him on his rear end.
Yeah, Marvin is a young man from St. Louis, Cardinal Ritter, plays safety for us. He's built like a really good player. He's built like Josh Pate. Looked like he just got out of the doing some bench press. So
I feel like he'd be a little top heavy trying to play safety there.
But no, he's a great young man, and you know, I really feel like our defense has several of those guys. They're not going to be talked a lot about going into the season, but there's going to be some guys that make a name for themselves on Mizzou's defense this fall. I'm very confident in that.
Okay.
That side of the ball is not one that has me concerned at all. Offensively, I'm not concerned. I think you're going to run it. I love your addition of Hart.
I'm concerned.
I mean, there's unknowns, but I think the biggest unknown might be the receiver core. Maybe you disagree.
Left tackle, quarterback.
Yeah, tackle. You did have a pretty good tackle last year that obviously is now extremely well compensated. So you got some great ones. You got questions at quarterback, sure, but I like Perbula enough. I think Sam Horn will be fine. But tell me about the receivers a little bit if you could. I just want to know.
Greg's already
what
picked the quarterback.
Looks like.
Yeah, honestly, the wide receiver room I think is deeper and more talented than we've been, and that's saying a lot. You know, last year we had Theo and Mookie and Luther Burden. But you bring in Kevin Coleman, who is obviously a really good player wherever he's been, and dynamic playmaker. He's going to wear the number 3, so we're going to keep that number 3 on the field. You've got two guys who've played a lot of football for us, in Marquise Johnson and Josh Manning. Marquise might be the fastest player on our team, and so at the X position, you look at last year, explosive plays down the field, which we didn't create very many. He was the guy that was able to do that and has really refined his route tree. We got a true freshman, Donovan Lubide, who I think is as good as any freshman wide receiver we've had, and that is including Luther Burden and Dominic Lovett. I think this guy is dynamic. He's going to be a really good player for us. You know, you got Daniel Blood coming back. We added Xavier Lloyd, who has played a lot of football, whether it was a K-State or Illinois State last year. He's a guy that we added to provide competitive depth. But, you know, when you talk about us, you also got to add Brett Norfleet, a guy who we didn't do a good enough job last year using him down the field. Yeah, ridiculous. You know, I've challenged our staff.
People who listen to this show know good and well who Brett Norfleet is.
Brett Norfleet is a
often.
weapon, and he's a guy that we got to use vertically down the field. You know, I felt like last year there was a lot of tension and pressing for us on the offensive side of the ball. We got to get back to having fun. We got to get back to being creative and having fun on the offensive side of the ball, and we're going to do that. We got plenty of weapons. We just got to establish who's the quarterback and who's going to be that left tackle, and I think everything else will roll. But the wide receiver room is not one that I'm that stressed about.
I texted you last year, and I'm like, Coach, I love this Marcus Carroll kid. I'm watching this Georgia State film, and you were like, it's Nate Noel.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I saw him at App too, but like Marcus, and you're like, it's Nate Noel.
Yeah.
I love Ahmad Hardy.
Yeah, it's Ahmad Hardy.
And the thing that I love the most is he's been running stretch for Brian Vincent. So, like, he has that feel for it already, and it just looks like a dude that's going to be perfect for what you guys do.
Yeah, I love Ahmad. I love who he is as a person, as a competitor, and he's a really good player. I think him and Jamal Roberts, T-Man, Marquise Davis, these guys all have earned the ability to run the ball. But Ahmad, he's different. He's built different, and I'm excited about what we can do. Obviously, we've got to establish which tackle can really run the stretch play the way we have set the standard to run it. So
just put Norfleet next to him, you'll be fine.
Well, that's probably what we're going to do.
That's not a bad start at all, Coach. The game that's coming back this year, and look, not a game that nationally people realize the hostility, but being around Leipold a little bit last week and knowing him forever, and knowing what that game means to your fan base. You know, what does the Kansas game – I know you got one before it, but what does the Kansas game do for you and for your fan base to kind of get people amped up?
Well, it's something we've been pointing to for the last 5 years since I've been the head coach here. It's important to our state. It's got roots all the way back to the formation of a militia in the city of Columbia to protect itself from people coming in and trying to steal. And that militia was called the Tigers, which is what the name of our football team is now. So, I mean, this thing's deep. There's a lot of different things. 1960, you could argue Missouri had the best football program in the country and got beat by Kansas, who intentionally played an ineligible player. So there's a lot of hatred going on back there, and it's going to be exciting to get that thing on the road.
I love the history, man. This is awesome. I mean, I knew this game was going to be great, and a lot of people wouldn't know enough about it, but this is incredible. I can't wait for this game.
Well, we had a guest speaker come in and talk about the history of the game. We bring in somebody.
Hopefully it wasn't Tom Hart.
No, we bring in somebody once a month to educate our team, and we do something every Friday to remind us about the significance of the Kansas game. So there's no sleeping on that one.
It's great. Coach, thanks for the time, man. You're always fun. We love having you on, and it's wish we could do it every week.
Yeah, well, when I heard the news about McElroy, I knew I needed to get on here and have somebody bust him. So it was a privilege.
You've done it.
I'm dead serious, Greg. Will you tell us the story about Nick calling you and ripping your ass about this, or no?
No, did not talk to Coach. Did not talk to Coach, but there are people.
You ignored his calls. Yeah, that's what happened.
Well, I did have two individuals tell me they called them last night about Greg. So yeah,
it's a private number, so I don't know which one. I don't know if he called or not, but there might have been a missed call or two with the 205 area code. That's for sure.
All right, boys.
Thanks, Coach. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. He's gonna leave me hanging, Coach.
Gosh.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No, you don't need to do double handshakes, dude. No double handshakes. It's unnecessary.
Well, I mean, I just telling him thank you for hopping on. He was great. That was good stuff.
I love
man.
Drink. I mean this when I say this. I think he's done a great job at Missouri. I mean, he really has.
How
and
could you
I
think
also
anything other than that? I mean,
well, I just don't think he gets the credit he probably deserves. I think that's a tough place that he inherited, and he's really carved out a great identity. I think they've done a great job of rallying support within their NIL. I think they have a lot of good boosters. They have a lot of resources that have been very beneficial. Like I think there's a lot to be excited about in the long term with what he's created and kind of the identity and the culture that they've created as well.
I think he's done a great job, as you stated. I think he is confident with this team. Quarterback's going to be big. We may have made a mistake of just believing that Bo Perbula was going to be the guy, but there are some other pieces that I think he laid out some real concerns he's got. It sounds like he's concerned about the O-line. Doesn't sound like he's concerned at all about wide receiver. And I think he likes his defense. And that's one of the things I go back to, like the same things we talked about with South Carolina, same thing with Missouri, Greg. They're guys that have played a lot of snaps in that system that are going to be back. And they're not big, giant, household name first-round draft picks, but you got guys that have played and guys that have been on that roster, and that's valuable. And Missouri is one of those teams that when you look at the Zion Young that played a lot last year, Chris McClellan has played a lot in that system. Tristan Newsome played a lot in that system. You know, I brought up Marvin Burks. And then you add a Damon Wilson, a Jalen Catalon, and all of a sudden it's like, man, this group could be pretty sporty on that side of the ball from Mizzou.
I think they're going to be good on defense. I really do. I just like their defensive identity. And they've had dudes up front that I think have caused problems for a while. Now they're a fire your gun type of defense. Like that's
No
how
doubt.
they play, and I like that. I think in this day and age in college football, like disruption created, havoc, great, all that stuff is great. So I appreciate their style, like the old bend don't break defense. It's like that doesn't do much for me unless you got superior dudes. But I do like the fire your gun mentality that they approach it with. My biggest thing with Missouri this year is if they get to say 9-3, and that's a big if, dependent on who they beat. Is the schedule going to be strong enough to warrant some consideration to be in the playoff mix? And 9-3, you really look at the schedule, it's not out of the realm of possibility. It's really not. I mean, you could say you knock off Bama at home, using that one as an example. I mean, that's a marquee win for Missouri if that's one they can get. I mean, they got to knock off one of the big boys, which they haven't really done. They've been close, almost got Georgia a couple times. They've played a lot of teams really, really well. They haven't knocked off the big boys yet. They've beaten who they're supposed to beat, which is great. But next step is now knocking off a big boy and being in a spot where you can really alter the image and the perception of the program.
Well, last year we said 10-2, 9-3 against that schedule wouldn't be enough regardless, and ended up not being enough. Is 10-2, 9-3 enough against this one? And it's going to be dependent. Like Kansas has a good year. I actually think Louisiana could have a better year than people might imagine. But if some of these Texas A&Ms, Auburns, Vandy's, Oklahomas, if they do sort of excel past where a lot of people believe, this could end up being a really difficult schedule for Missouri, depending on where some of those teams go.
Yeah, I think that, like we've said from the get-go, it's kind of been the theme of the week, that dark horse contingent that includes Missouri, that includes Auburn, that includes other teams that are on their schedule. I think that's big. And excuse me, I think Kansas is a legitimate playoff contender out of the Big 12. I think they have that type of juice at quarterback and wide receiver. So I look at that game, and if they get that win, and all of a sudden Kansas is in the mix in the Big 12, now you got another huge and here's one more thing. If Mississippi State beats Arizona State, for example, like not involving Missouri, right? Not involving Missouri at all, but that trickle-down effect of how the Big 12's perceived against the SEC would be huge. So I think for Missouri, yes, win as many games as you can, but you really need your other SEC brethren to go out and take care of business in the non-con so the league as a whole is held in a higher regard.
That Alabama heat and humidity, we hold it in high regard. We know what it's going to be each and every day. Don't let it affect your home and family. Keep them comfortable with an affordable train cooling system. They've been recognized as America's most trusted brand 11 consecutive years, and they're the official cooling partner here at Jox. Find a comfort specialist near you at train.com. It's hard to stop a train. Mike Elko still coming up on the show today. The Texas A&M head football coach will be with us, and we'll give you more live from Media Days here at the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta next on Jox. 10:31, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, live from SEC Media Days. Mike Elko coming up in just a few moments. What's the most money you've ever spent on a bathing suit? That's the question.
$85.
Because the
Ville Brequin bathing suit that I was made aware of that Eli went out and bought. He says just one. Don't know. Could be more. I'm on the website right now. $690.
You can have it. I don't understand that. Like $85, and it hurt to have to spend that, but it was out of necessity because I did not have a swimsuit with me and had to buy one at the pro shop, and it like hurt me to my core.
Yeah, I think that's where those beach stores stay in business. Is you like, I gotta have a bathing suit. You go in, and it's like, hold on, $60. Like what?
Yes. But it's like, what choice do you have? Like, you have to get one. Like, what are you gonna do? Not utilize the water? I mean, I'm not going in my underwear.
I might pretend like I thought it was a nude colony and go there before I spend $690 on a bathing suit. I'm gonna be honest with you. $690 for a bathing suit? Like, there's absolutely no way on earth that's gonna happen. That just literally, it's not. I'll swim in my jeans before I do that.
Unless it comes
with like, pass the scissors. We're chopping the jeans off. We're going straight Florida Gator. We're not spending $690 on a bathing suit. No.
Unless it comes with like a feature that can like warm up my back and like, you know,
it better come with scuba gear.
Yeah. It gives me superpowers. Like, I can swim really fast. Like, okay, I could understand that.
Yeah, I don't
know.
know.
Maybe there's like some copper that's like around the waist, so it becomes like a copper fit, and gives you like an extra layer of all that. I don't know. I don't understand unless it is quite literally made by hand. I don't understand.
I don't care if it's made by feet. I don't know. Not $690.
Now that would be impressive.
It would, but not for $690. It's still not impressive enough. All right,
when you're breaded, you're breaded though.
That's fair. Eli gets what, like 7 a year, so he's doing okay. Yes. We're gonna have Mike Elko, Texas A&M head football coach, on in just a few moments. Going to have to wait for him. One thing you never have to wait for, though, Greg, is your dental care.
That's because Family Care Dental has you taken care of at the urgent care office, where you can be seen the same day in several locations to make it easy on you. Hoover, Fultondale, Homewood, Alabaster, and Trustful. They can get you in the same day. Most insurance plans are accepted, and patients of all ages are accepted. So call Family Care Dental. They can get you on Fridays and Saturdays as well. Call them at 874-9605. That's Family Care Dental, 874-9605.
Back with more from day 4 of SEC Media Days, live from Atlanta next on Jox 94.5. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, live from the College Football Hall of Fame SEC Media Days, Day 4, 10:38 a.m. here in the Eastern Time Zone. Greg McElroy is in South Alabama on a speaking engagement, and we'll continue talking SEC Media Days. Is there a team, a part of a team that has altered your opinion greatly this week? A team who maybe you were like, I mean, that was pretty insightful from Drink. I mean, I know some of it's coach speak, but basically just saying, hey, it's not just Bo Prabula yet. Like, be careful. He's not just the guy. And then I think, too, maybe offensive line a little more concerned than we kind of thought it was. You got a couple guys that are going to be back. Caden Green's going to be back. Connor Tollison back at center. You'll have Brett Norfleet next to whoever's playing tackle at times. I kind of figured he wouldn't be super concerned about that, Greg, but sounds like it might be a real concern for Eli Drinkwitz.
Yeah, that was a little surprising. I think of all the teams that have altered my perception the most, I think Florida might be number one. I just haven't really thought about them contending because of the schedule and because of some of the adjustments that I think have been made, but they feel great about their wideouts. I think they're a little concerned maybe about their secondary, but I don't know. I mean, if they can get after folks up front, like, secondary is not a huge concern. So I think that's the team. They've probably gone from like 10th or 11th in the SEC in my eyes to maybe top 6 or 7 potentially if everything falls into place.
Okay, then that's sort of the story of the majority of the teams that we've seen here this week. Is there's a possibility that they could find a way to get to 10 wins, be in contention for an SEC title, or they kind of fall backwards and maybe they're not that team and look at maybe being, can we get bowl eligible? A place that I've told you all about that you can get products that are going to help you is your CBD store. Arthritis, anxiety for you or your pets at your CBD store. If you need a better night's sleep, your CBD store has products that can help you with that. Also, you're looking to lose a little bit of weight, the Trim by SunMed in stock now. That's going to keep the diet at a minimum there at your CBD store. First company to have USDA certified organic oil supplements. Also, a large brick and mortar CBD retailer in the world. They've helped pets in my household. They can help you. If you're looking for skincare, gut health for you or your pet, they can help there as well. Visit one of their 3 locations, Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cajun Cleaver, and Trustful just off 459. Your CBD store where good health hits home. So we will hear from Mike Elko here in just a few moments, discuss his Texas A&M football team right after this on Jox. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 10:45 here in the Eastern Time Zone in Atlanta at the College Football Hall of Fame. Day 4 SEC Media Days. Cole Cubelic, Greg McElroy with you. GMAC down in South Alabama as we try to wrap up our Media Days coverage from Atlanta. Texas A&M will be here today, Greg. Their head coach going to join us here in a few moments. Haven't spent a ton of time on the Aggies. There are a couple of names that Billy Lucci threw out for us that we may need to pay attention to. Samuel Mpinda, defensive lineman. Ashton Bethel-Roman, wide receiver. So maybe this does go a little bit past, can Marcel Reed be the guy? After Marcel Reed and the quarterback situation at A&M, what's next for you as to maybe what could keep them from being a team that contends in the SEC this season?
Man, I think just injuries. You know, that's probably like the main thing. I mean, they've just had some challenges the last couple of years. Running backs getting banged up last year was a huge problem as the season went along. Secondary is something I'm kind of curious about, but I think they feel pretty good about that group. I think they're feel pretty confident in what they have along the D-line. I don't think they're going to be quite as deep as they were last year, but still really, really talented. So there's a couple things, but for the most part, man, like I think they're in great shape. If Marcel Reed makes the progress I think he can make, they're going to be in really good shape.
And you look back to that defense, too, this is a similar situation with many other teams in the league that we talk about who's going to be gone, maybe don't pay near enough attention to who's going to be back. There's some massive losses. I mean, both Shamar is going to be gone. Obviously, Nick Scordon was great for A&M last year, just dominant at times up front on that defense. I think there's enough on the defensive line. I'm kind of with Billy. Linebacker depth is something that I look at and say, all right, well, you bring in Scooby Williams from Florida, and he's obviously going to make a big difference. Tarn York's got some good football in him. We've seen some good. We've seen some average. And then you do have bodies back in the secondary. I mean, Bryce Anderson feels like he's been at A&M, since we started covering him. But what do you look at on that A&M defense as far as what could be the strengths and maybe what are your concerns?
I think they're going to be active up front. I don't know about you. Like, I'm not worried about the defensive line that much. I mean, if there's one concern, maybe it's depth. But that's my concern for everybody. I don't know if you're the same way. Like, I don't feel great about anyone's depth anywhere. Now, I think they have it on offense, along the offensive line. I think they've added a couple guys. Like, Dan Hayes is a guy I really like. TJ Searcy I really like. Cassius Howell, I think, has a chance to take a huge step this year. They're veteran on the interior. Like, that might be one thing, but maybe depth at the second level. You got Scooby Williams, got Torian York. You're in good shape there. So I would say maybe depth at linebacker, if there's something I'm really kind of paying attention to.
Yeah, I think that – I'm trying to see if Coach Elko's coming out of the elevator. I apologize. You look at linebacker. I mean, Scooby Williams, obviously, he's got some good football in him at Florida. Tarn York going to be back.
Yep.
You look at exactly what's going to be next, and it's just probably not in line with what we've seen from the Edgerrin Coopers and other linebackers in recent memory at Texas A&M. So
right.
Now Elko's going back down the stairs. You guys can go around that way. Sorry. I think they're – oh, no. Billy Lucci just stopped him.
Oh, no.
Billy.
Luch.
Billy. Up and around. Correct. Go up and then around that way. They're lost. And then to the right.
Elko's so great. I love that guy.
Well, his media lady's like, we don't know where we're going.
I get it. I understand.
No,
I think
weird.
one other.
Now that way, right there.
What about tight end for
We
you
got
at A&M? Like, they got Amari Nyblack transferring over. Everyone in this part of the world's familiar with him. But beyond, you got Ostrom, who's pretty good on the end. Millen Ostrom's pretty decent blocker, not bad.
The Borkertzer kid from Nebraska, I think, can help him. I'm not going to say that I really think that Nyblack's going to be a guy. I'm telling you, I love Micah Riley, man. I know it's hard. I'm sorry. It's okay. It's okay. We'll put Coach right here. Come around there, Coach. I got lost too. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
Cole got lost on his
How you
fourth
doing,
day,
man?
though, not on his first day.
Trust me, I did the same thing. I got lost. I got lost too. Coach McElroy's going to be on. He's not here. He's down doing a speaking engagement. Thanks for finding us, first off.
No, for sure.
It's a little confusing in here
How you
sometimes.
doing?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you. We were just talking about the defense.
Okay.
We were talking some of the personnel. I've seen a couple comments from you this offseason of certain things you want to get back to, certain things you want to be that maybe you weren't last year. Is that being a little less active? Is that maybe not trying to force as much with your front or your looks, things of that nature? What is it that you want to try to be more of this year that you weren't last year?
Yeah, I just think it's as simple as like going into year 2 with a little bit more comfort of our personnel, like who we are, what they do, them having a little better understanding of the package and what we're trying to do, and maybe putting ourselves in a position to maybe give up a few less big plays and be a little bit more consistent in the run game. I think last year, play in and play out, we were successful, but there were too many explosives and too many explosives that wound up being touchdowns, and ultimately that's what did us in down the stretch.
Coach, Colin Klein is a guy that I'm really excited about this year. I think when you get thrust into this league, you think you know, but you have to kind of live it and experience it now for a year. I just feel like he's in such a better spot to be able to attack and know what you can do and can't do against certain teams and against certain personnel. How much further along is he as a head coach as far as his understanding of the SEC?
Yeah, I mean, I think light years, and I think you're right. I think it's a different conference. I also think when you look back at last year, he got dealt an unbelievable hand, right? The unsettledness at quarterback, the early injury to Connor, having to make the switch mid-year, losing Reuben Owens before the season started, losing Le'Veon Moss late in the year, some of the injuries on the front. It wasn't as smooth as you would like it to be in year 1, and then you throw in new league, new personnel, all of that stuff. And I think to look back at last year and know that we were number 1 in the conference in SEC play and scoring amidst all of that, I don't think people talk about that enough.
And you did it mostly on the ground. I mean, 6 200-yard rushing games last year. Is there more emphasis on the pass game? Is it let's stay dominant on the ground and just add a few things here? Where do you want to try to morph into a little bit more offensively this year?
Yeah, I think there's a balance between what you want to be and maybe what you inherited from a talent standpoint or where you currently are. We return our top 7 offensive linemen. We return all of our ball carriers. Our quarterback has a dual threat capability. But the teams that are in Atlanta and the teams that are winning the national championship all have effective, efficient passing games. And so I think we've got to figure out ways within our system and who we are to throw the ball better, to throw the ball more efficiently, to be able to push the ball downfield more, to create some more explosives. But I still think it's an evolution for our program to get there because, if you just look at the strength of our personnel, we have a really talented front group and a really talented group in the backfield.
The O-line should be able to push some people around.
They should be able to.
At the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, not very many people in this day and age of college football bring back their top 7 offensive linemen. And we brought back our top 7 offensive linemen. And so, when that's the starting point of where your team's at, it's a good place to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know Cole loves the fact that you have 2 really good centers. So let's not get carried away here, Cube. Like, let's talk about the people want to talk about.
A lot of teams would like to have 2 centers.
Yeah, no doubt. Casey Concepcion, coach, is a guy I love. I've been calling his games for years at NC State. I loved him there. I thought last year was challenging because quarterback inconsistency. And frankly, the year before, had some quarterback. This guy is just get on the ball and see what he does. He's just amazing to watch. When you got him, what do you feel like what do you think you got? And then now that you've gone through spring, what have you learned more about?
Yeah, I think like you, Greg, I saw him firsthand too when I was at Duke, and he was right down the road, and we played against him, and the different ways he could impact the game. Catching it, running routes, deep routes, short routes, his ability to get in the backfield and be an effective ball carrier, the things he could do in the return game. And so we were pretty well versed on who he was as a football player. I think what we've learned since we've got him is what a phenomenal kid he is. I mean, he's infused energy into our program. I think he's a great leader. He has an unbelievable work ethic. He's been a leader in the weight room and in the off-field workouts for us. And so I think we not only got a really talented player, but I also think we got a guy who kind of knows what it should look like and has kind of led some of our young wide receivers in some of their development as well.
Mike Elko, Texas A&M head football coach, joining at Media Days. We bypass all of that when we talk portal. we talk about speed, size. Some people talk about rankings, what they've done, their other numbers, but we forget leadership, experience, being able to push the other guys, knowing what it's like to be in a locker room, things of that nature. Like you'll get the Jacob Zeno move for you guys. Yeah. In the olden days, we'd have said, well, he's coming in to compete for the starting job. Well, now you need experience. You need guys to sort of lean on, rely on if something were to happen. How do you juggle that part of the portal? Is it just contacts you talk to and try to find out about personalities? How is that part, I guess, even justified or looked into when you're going to get a guy out of the portal?
Yeah, I think from my perspective, it's maybe being a little cynical when you start the process. I think, some people maybe you see a name in the portal and you immediately get excited and think about all the positives, and I want to know more. I want to know why he's in the portal. I want to know what he's thinking about. I want to know what he's looking for.
We go back like 3 years ago, it was the exact opposite. Somebody's name's in the portal, you're like, uh-oh, he's in trouble.
Right.
Something happened. Like somebody's mad at him, and so like we thought that there was a negative reason they'd be in the portal.
Yeah. No, I think it's I think you see it all the time. Just I've said this before. There's no other place in the world where a high school ranking lasts so long. And so
God, that's one of the best. That might be the quote of media days right there.
A kid can get ranked as a sophomore in high school and be that ranking regardless of what happens for the next 5 years.
Absolutely.
And I just think we're production based. I think we're intangible based in our evaluation. I think we want to identify kids who can come in and add value in a lot of different ways, and then we're very candid with kids. It's recruiting for sure, but when you're dealing with kids in the transfer portal, like you want to make sure, like, what are you looking for?
Right.
Like, what's important to you, because you're at the point in your career where if I can't deliver for you what you're looking for, this is going to go bad. And so let's be honest with each other. And those conversations are a lot easier with a 20-year-old than they are a 15 or 16-year-old, right? And so it's just a different type of recruiting, I think, when you're in the portal.
Coach, finally, just your understanding now back at A&M, the nuance. You've got a new AD who I think is doing good work for you guys. I would imagine your comfort level overall has to be on a whole nother level after having gone through it for a year. So how are you different as a head coach from last year to this year?
Oh, I think if you're in this thing the right way, you're growing every year as a coach, as a head coach, and anything. But I don't think anybody really understands like how difficult year one is. When you step into a program in year one, there's so much that you have to get used to, get familiar with, get comfortable with, learn, understand about everything from your players to your locker room to your support staff to your administration, your alumni, like literally everything. And so I just think it's nice to go now. Like I know all the players, I know all the faces, I know the personalities. I have a much better feel for who everyone is in and around this football program, and what this is going to be about. And so I think all of that just kind of gives you a little bit more settledness to go out and do things the way you're comfortable and you know how to do them.
Coach, if I asked you heading into this season with something we've already seen or something you believe we will see from your team this upcoming year that is your DNA on the program, what would you want to tell people that either is or will be this year?
Yeah, I think it's our continued ability to just be quiet and work and show up on Saturday and bring everything that we got to every game, compete start to finish with a really talented roster.
Right.
And I think that's what my vision of what Texas A&M football will become, because I think if we do that, if we can have a blue-collar mindset with the talent and the ability of kid that we're able to bring into Texas A&M, and you put all that together, I think that's what ultimately leads us to where this place wants to go and has always thought they should be, right? And the trick now is unlocking it, and I think we're 1 year closer to having this product be what everybody wants to see Texas A&M football look like.
We really appreciate the time. Thanks for stopping by. We love talking football with you, Coach.
I appreciate it. Next year, guys, Greg, I know you're not here, but if you guys can find a location maybe a little bit closer, a little bit more proximal to where everybody's at, that would make it a lot easier
without
for
the
us.
stair maze to not know exactly where you're going.
You got to go up this one, down that one. You can't use this elevator. You got to use that elevator.
I've gotten caught 3 times on it this week, Coach.
With the work that the two of you do for the SEC Network and how good you guys are at what you do, I would think you'd have prime location.
Well, hey, compared to our guy Billy Lucci, who's in the back. So there you go. I know you're going to see him.
Yeah.
Thanks, Coach. We
Appreciate you guys.
it.
Yep.
Mike Elko joining
Appreciate
us here
you,
from Media Days. We'll wrap it up, hand it off to three-man front next right here on Jox.